NBA Celtics go for an 8th straight win when they welcome the Warriors tonight, 7 Eastern ESPN Radio. Boston guard Jaylen Brown questionable with a groin injury.
We all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time you need parts for your car, don't call it quits. Go to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Grand. That's grand. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from ESPN Asheville.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, two men, one journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller.
You know
the other
SEO.
once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. And Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Welcome into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. The Sportsocracy, of course, coming to you live from the Ingles Studio. We are heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and you can see us every time we're live here in the studio on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel. That gets you into the chat with us each and every day. And, I feel like today should be a little bit of a celebration day for some NFL fans.
I mean,
namely myself.
I was about to say for you. It's a great day for you.
And Stephen Towle.
And Chauncey Major, our resident Baltimore Ravens fans.
Brian Hall, the Miami Dolphins fan. Because we got a lot of coaches getting axed.
We got a lot of coordinators getting axed. It's almost like all the teams that just barely made the playoffs looked around and went, we're going to wait till 3:32 or 2:32 on Thursday. And that's when we're going to do all of these things.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers have officially fired offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich. Greg Roman stepping down from his spot as the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Buffalo Bills getting rid of what was it, Jason Moyer? No, that was a pitcher.
That would be Jamie Moyer, I believe is who you would be looking for.
Maybe. Their defensive coordinator.
The Miami Dolphins, not the Buffalo Bills.
Did I say Buffalo Bills?
You said Buffalo Bills.
Good Lord.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills aren't doing anything except getting ready to. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
We got all kinds of things going on in the NFL. So, that's where we're going to start today with the opening drive. And it's always brought to you by Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, 629 Brevard Road. I was just over there this afternoon myself, dropping off my certified pre-owned 2017 Nissan Rogue for service. It's time for the old oil change and the tire rotation, all that. I can't wait for the videos to come out. That's my favorite part of having. I've never had a car where I had a relationship with a dealership because it's like the first dealership I've ever bought a car from.
Well, that's because most cars that you've ever had would have to be serviced at a Buc-ee's.
But they go through and they show you all the undercarriage of your car, send you videos of what's working and what might need a little attention later on in the future. It's great. They really take care of you over there. Treat you like family. And if you mention the Sportsocracy when you need a new vehicle, you can just mention us and they'll give you $250 on top of your trade-in.
I am currently in a new Rogue, fully loaded with all the bells and whistles. And I learned today that I don't actually hate driving downtown. I just need a car that turns like that. Because I saw a spot and went, there's not a car on the planet that could turn into that. And yet, it did. 629 Brevard Road. Tell them the formerly fat guys from the Sportsocracy sent you.
Indeed. So of all the news today, is anything surprising to you? It shouldn't be.
Well, I mean, the most surprising part to me is that Tampa Bay looked around the entire building and went, Byron Leftwich, that's the one that did it. But I thought Tom was just, we're going to let Tom do what Tom wants to do. And then you fire Byron Leftwich.
Mm-hmm.
Is Todd Bowles just impervious to criticism here?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what to make of the whole scenario. The only thing that I can think of is that the guy who handed Todd Bowles the job is still in the building. Bruce Arians is still there. Remember when he stepped down?
Why do we care what Bryson DeChambeau's dad thinks about what your team should be doing?
Because
there's only one way I'm listening to Bruce Arians. Hey, Bruce, are you coming back? No. Okay, then I don't care what you think because you did this to us.
Well, they pay him. They pay him to be there. It's not like he's just working for free.
Todd Bowles has coached 84 games as a head coach. He has 34 wins.
Mm-hmm.
What job can you be that bad at? Not only did you get a second chance, but now you're going to get a third chance. And the only rational thought that I have with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is they're looking at this going, there is nothing we can do to be competitive next year.
Mm-hmm.
So all we would be doing if we fired Todd Bowles is leading a lamb to slaughter. That's the only thing that makes any sense, is
right.
We might as well keep Todd Bowles, let him hang this 2-15 next year, and then we can go get a legitimate coach when we go get a quarterback.
Earlier today, I was listening to The Herd with Colin Cowherd, and of course, you know how Colin loves his little conspiracy theories.
Colin and I have that in common.
And so he was going on and on and on about the Byron Leftwich firing, and that he believes that this is Tampa's way of telling Tom it's okay to come back. Like, at what point do you not look at that and go, well, Tom Brady's not coming back regardless? As long as Todd Bowles is the head coach of this team, I don't feel like Tom would see anything redeemable about this. Not that he would anyway.
Well, and the question would be, why would you want him to come back anyway?
Because he's better than Kyle Trask.
But, and hear me out here, do you want to be good? Do you want to go 8-9 and maybe win the division again?
I do not.
And you know why? That's because you do not suffer from an ailment that we talk about a lot on this here program, which is DFS.
Delusional fan syndrome. Yes. No, I don't want to be good next year. I want to
because you're good as 8-9,
right?
At best,
right. I want to stink on ice, and let's get one of these quarterbacks in the next class. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Quinn Ewers. I'm sure there are a couple of others that if you New York jetted and you won just too many games, that you could get one of these lesser quarterbacks in next year's draft. I don't care. To me, anything's better than Kyle Trask. And all the fan pages, like you have the fanboys out here, oh, well, why do you think that Kyle Trask can't play next? Okay.
Because he's
look,
bad?
Well, I mean, look,
because
to
Tom
be fair,
Brady
we have not
could not throw up a 500 season and only got into the playoffs because you were in the worst division in the history of football.
Well, I keep going back to, all right, when Tom wasn't available or when it came time for Tom to go sit on the bench, who played? Who came in at quarterback? And that should tell you everything you need to know about the development of Kyle Trask or lack thereof. Oh, but with a complete offseason, maybe he could. I don't want to hang my hat on maybe. I mean, if we're going to be a legitimate, fan base who feels like we're going to be good next year, like it was just – because that was kind of Colin's take was, well, the offensive line suffered so many injuries this year, and now that everybody's healthy and everybody will be back, this will get Tom to reconsider.
Joe Burrow, end of message, repeat the line. If you're that good as a quarterback in this league, that does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. You will find a way when you have weapons like that. Because the difference between Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin is not that drastic. This team is broken. And I told you that months ago.
Mm-hmm. Tom's problem was not with Byron Leftwich.
No, Tom's problem was with the organization on the whole.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be, because this is a joke. I mean, I cannot physically figure out how an owner of an NFL team looked at the product that you put on the field. Your defense was a joke. That's what Todd Bowles does.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, it would be one thing if this was his first year as a coach and maybe he just didn't have the right guys in the system. No, he's been here for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a head coach for 4 years before that. And guess what? The exact same thing happened.
I am really sick and tired of seeing also, but he didn't get to pick his coaches. Because remember, it was so late in the process when Tom Brady finally decided to come back, and he decided he didn't want Bruce Arians as the coach anymore. Then Bruce decided to step aside. He went up to the front office as a special advisor or whatever his role is.
And I have a conspiracy theory.
But Todd Bowles was, grandfathered in. He didn't get to pick who his offensive coordinator. Do you think it would matter?
It didn't matter with the Jets. I can tell you that much. And I can tell you another thing about Todd Bowles. Of the 5 years that he's been a head coach in the NFL, how many times did the simple rating system, defensive rating, which is the most rudimentary system you can possibly use, it basically rates you on a scale of 1 to 10
mm-hmm.
and then has negatives. How many times has a Todd Bowles defense ever gotten better the year after? So he's there. How many years did it not regress?
I'll say none.
It's once.
Once.
It's one time. And the only reason that happened is because his second year with the New York Jets, you almost couldn't be that bad defensively again. And then he found a way to be worse 2 years later. I think he has dirty pictures of the owner. That's the only thing I can understand that possibly makes this make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Staley, at least he's only 2 years into the job. Now, he can't do basic math and tell you how many games he's coached for this team because it's 35, not the 25. He screamed from the mountaintops yesterday 11 times. I at least kind of get that. You can bring in an offensive coordinator, somebody to work with Justin Herbert. The offense is at least working. There's nothing in Tampa Bay working.
No.
Nothing. This is the worst rushing team quite possibly in NFL history.
Mm-hmm.
There are analytics that will tell you they are. Passing game regresses, but Tom threw for 40 jillion yards. Yeah, because he threw 40 jillion times.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense was a nightmare, which I'm only going to say this one more time. I tried to tell you.
As you lost pieces from the Super Bowl team, it obviously got harder and harder to be able to replicate what you had. And you went from Super Bowl, yay, rah, rah, we got our ring, to just falling short against the LA Rams last year and to barely making the playoffs this year.
And the thing I can't wrap my head around, how are you going to Jamel Dean and Levante David and all of these other players whose deals are up? First of all, you have no money, so they're going to have to take a discount to be here in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I almost can't figure out how you're going to get below the cap because you've kicked this can New Orleans Saints level down the road. How do you go to the talent on this team and say, this is what we're selling you with stone-faced Todd Bowles, who never shows any emotion whatsoever and has a track record that historically says players do not get better under him? How exactly am I supposed to sell that? So take those pieces, just the free agent elements away. Let's say somehow you work cap magic and you can bring everybody back. That means you're 80% of the team you were this year that went 8-9
yep.
and barely won the worst division in the history of the NFL and got absolutely scattered, smothered, and covered in the first round of the playoffs.
Yep.
I would argue this is one of the 5 most irrelevant teams in the NFL. And it's going to be that way for a real long time.
Cousin Colin Greene in the YouTube comments says Todd Chili Bowles is better than Dennis Allen. And I don't know that I agree.
I'm going to disagree.
That's where I was living.
I'm going to disagree. And I'll be honest with you, that's a really good comparison. I'll tell you why. Because New Orleans roster this year is where Tampa's will be next year. Dennis Allen found a way to only fall one game out of the playoffs. They were one win away from winning that division.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be shocked if Tampa went 3-14 next year. And I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care if it's Tom Brady. I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if you pull Brett Favre out of retirement. This team is a disaster. But there was another firing or mutual parting of ways today. Tells me there might be a bigger shift afoot.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
90 pounds in 1 year. It can be done. And you ask me how? PhD weight loss. Go to myphdweightloss.com today. If you've been struggling your entire life with a weight problem, PhD Weight Loss has the plan to help you reverse the symptoms of type 2 diabetes and sleep apnea, all of that. Jeremy, you've been through that. You had sleep apnea like crazy before PhD.
I did. My heaviness had led to some health problems. And a lot of it was because I just made bad food choices. And that is what I learned from the PhD weight loss program, which has gotten me back to my high school weight. The sleep apnea is gone, and it's all thanks to PhD weight loss.
I had long struggled and been labeled morbidly obese. Now, I'm not by any means a skinny fit person now, but being 200 pounds is much better than being 300, 350. I was pushing the scales at getting close to 4 bills at one point in my life. Now I know how to live thanks to Dr. Ashley Lucas and the plan at PhD Weight Loss. Go to myphdweightloss.com.
People here are raving about QC Kinetics and how regenerative medicine has changed their life. People like Helen, an avid mountain climber who got sidelined when an accident left her knees in constant pain.
I was not able to train or do really anything on my knee.
Helen was told surgery would be her only option. But then she found QC Kinetics and was treated with natural biologics designed to repair and restore tissue in her knees. 3 months later, she was climbing the highest mountain in North America.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain. I began treatment in March, and I summited Denali June the 7th. It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Get your life back with lasting results. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
Meet Joe A,
hi,
Joe B,
hello,
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
The Sportsocracy.
What are you people? On dope?
Welcome back into the Ingles Studio. We are the Sportsocracy, found everywhere on the social medias at the Sportsocracy. And Byron Leftwich gone from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
What?
And now the Baltimore Ravens. They got a change of coming at their offensive coordinator position because Greg Roman has agreed to step aside. Because, I mean, Baltimore didn't want to fire him. That's what this is.
It was a mutual respect thing, and I get it.
Yeah, you've been here so long. You helped Lamar win an MVP, but guess what, buddy? This ain't working anymore.
And now let me play devil's advocate, because I know there are a lot of Baltimore Raven fans that are really happy Greg Roman's gone, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question. How many candidates do you think are going to line up to tie themselves to this situation as it currently sits? Honestly. If you've got options, there are now 10 offensive coordinator jobs in the NFL open.
Mm-hmm.
I could argue Baltimore is the next to least attractive of all of them. This is not because I think that Lamar's just going to leave in free agency. I've heard this trending around today. That, well, Baltimore's not going to let him leave for nothing. No kidding. In other news, water's wet and grass is green. Thanks for explaining that to me. That's not the problem. What exactly are you attracted to here? All right, if you're a young, hotshot offensive coordinator in the NFL, what is it that I'm looking at going, oh, yeah, that's what I'm here for that. J.K. Dobbins, is that what you're going to try to sell me on?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very integral piece of
Okay. Name me the team in the NFL whose best player is a running back that you in any way find to be even halfway competitive in this league.
San Francisco 49ers.
And I will agree with you that that's their best player, but it's very close.
Okay.
In terms of offensive weapon in Baltimore, it's not close. Who's two? I mean, it's Mark Andrews, obviously, but who's three? Rashad Bateman, who is becoming like the Sasquatch of the NFL. I hear how great he is, but I'm never seeing it.
Never seen it. Yeah, exactly.
So now you're going into a pool of candidates that in a pass-happy league, what are you going to find? A lot of guys that want to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything about Baltimore that tells you they can be that?
Not as they're currently constituted.
Your pool of coordinator candidates is going to be 10 times shallower than any other team in the league. Except maybe New England, who seems to only want to interview people that Bill knows.
Pat Shurmur.
That's probably the best you could do. You have this weird hang-up about Pat Shurmur.
He's just...
how did he hurt you? Let's talk about this.
He hasn't. He's just been a very mediocre coach.
And he's been a pretty good offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Corey Dayharsh.
The last time I saw him was with Vic Fangio in Denver.
Vic Fangio, also a good coordinator. Not a good coach. I didn't say he was a good coach. Good coordinator.
Mm-hmm. I was just saying, a Pat Shurmur offense doesn't really get me all excited.
I'm just saying, you immediately go, when I say bad coordinator hire, you immediately go to Pat Shurmur. And that's like me saying,
his name was on my screen.
And that's like me saying, hey, what's a bad fast food burger? And you start singing that really annoying Whopper song.
Whopper, Whopper, Junior, Whopper, Whopper,
stop
chocolate. I don't know.
Stop that.
Most overplayed ad in the history of time.
Corey Dayharsh in our YouTube comment said, Austin Eckler, arguably he's the best on the team, but that's the point. It's arguable.
Mm-hmm.
It's arguable with a handful of guys.
Yeah, I don't think.
That's talented skill position team. Outside of Mark Andrews, who's the second best receiver on the team? Isaiah Likely, a fourth-round tight end.
Mm-hmm.
How many teams in the NFL use two tight ends more than 2% of the time?
But here's the thing. You can't – you obviously saw this year you can't be that. You went into this season thinking, I guess this is going to be the Rashad Bateman, breakout year. But it didn't happen. You got rid of Marquise Brown. And even then, when you had Marquise Brown, we were talking in the offseason about how they needed to add another weapon to Marquise Brown. And then they made the trade and never replaced him with anything. You can't do that again. So they know they've got to be in the market for a
So they're going to draft a
playmaker.
receiver. They have the 23rd, 24th pick in the draft. I can't remember which one. And apologies, the mock draft will be out tomorrow. It did not get back to me in time for me to get it on the YouTube. And frankly, you do not want me to load it while this show is happening, or this show will cease to exist for an hour to an hour and a half.
Absolutely.
So apologies. We tried aggressively. But when that comes out tomorrow after the show, you'll see that Baltimore, well, guess what? You wound up with a deep threat. But even then, I'll go tell you it is Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. All right, so this is the best deep threat in this draft, and it's not really all that close.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make you feel warm and fuzzy about this offense? Are you looking at that with Lamar Jackson going, oh, we're dynamic now?
Makes me feel better.
Oh, we're dynamic now. Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen would love a word. And so that's the problem. This is, what is it you always call it? Three-dimensional chess with the way my brain works.
Mm-hmm.
This is the problem with that Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, Jake Locker. I mean, I can go through a ton of these guys we've tried to do this with. Tim Tebow. There's only a finite number of coaches that can coach you that way. It's just like running the triple option in college football.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of coaches that really understand how that works. So if that's what you want to do, that's fine. It's just going to really shoehorn you into a set of players and a set of coaches. And now I'm looking at John Harbaugh just going, is this how you want to go out? I mean, John Harbaugh, was he 61 years old?
Something like that.
Are you really committed to we're going to keep doing this grind it out, we run the football thing that nobody succeeds with? Can you get to the playoffs? Sure. Then you go in and wind up with Pat Mahomes or Joe Burrow and you get smoked like a honey ham.
Mm-hmm.
But we played close with Cincinnati. I'm well aware of that. Did you win? But did you win? No, sir.
No.
No, sir, you did not.
No, you didn't. But you're stuck. Because now Harbaugh's already said it. Did you see this? He came out and said Lamar is our quarterback. Okay, so whatever it takes, whatever you're going to do, don't know if you're going to go long-term extension or if you're going to just franchise tag him and go year to year with this thing. Both are okay options. But what else are you going to do? Now you have to retool this team around him, find an offensive coordinator that can make him work.
And that's where my question goes in. All right, so the problem with Greg Roman, and I've heard this 1,000 times, and I'm not saying I disagree with it. This was an unoriginative offense. There was no creativity. How creative am I supposed to be when I don't have any receivers?
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing receiver-wise. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, end of message, repeat the line. So where's the creativity supposed to come from?
Right.
He's not Merlin the Magnificent. And I hate to break this to you, whoever replaces him, you'll say the same thing about in 6 weeks. Because there's only so many things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
When your quarterback's best feature is how fast they are, creativity kind of goes out the window. There's only so many ways you can snap the ball and take off running it. Just my thought. Just my thought.
You need weapons, though. You need weapons to balance out that offense. So go get your weapons in the offseason. I don't know who they would bring in.
I can't wait to see the list of candidates that interview for this. Because there's going to be a name that's really odd.
Okay.
It could be Pat Shurmur or somebody like that that's notorious for working with quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that's going to change the way that offense looks. It could be a good thing. Look, I was wrong about Lamar ever being a high-level quarterback in this league. Now I've changed my stance to he can be a very good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have injury issues his entire career because he's a thin guy that takes a lot of hits. Do I think he can contend at a high level with the young quarterback class of – I said the three I said earlier. I didn't even mention Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. The biggest problem I always had with Greg Roman, and it was pretty much – I guess it's pretty much more noticeable this season than any other, of the scripts were awful, I thought.
It's a lot of first down, run, pass, punt.
Right. Coming into the games, you have your first, 15 plays scripted, maybe more. And it seemed like it was always slow going, and they were trying to be super conservative to start out the games. And then when you're behind the 8 ball and you need Lamar to do magical things, then Greg would turn him loose, and hopefully you can make the comeback.
But that's the point. The best way this offense can roll is by running the ball and being boring. You built the whole team to do that. And then it's Greg Roman's fault that, well, why are you so boring? How exactly am I supposed to not be? You want me to run 9 routes with DeMarcus Robinson or Sammy Watkins?
Again, that goes to DaCosta. And what are you doing to help Lamar, to give him targets?
And the other problem is, name me the high-level receiver that looks at Lamar Jackson and goes, that's how I'm going to get the big second contract.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one.
So
I want to go play with Pat Mahomes or what?
Right.
Whatever the case may be. I want somebody who's going to throw it 650, 700 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar's at 450. That's not best for me. So to me, it's just a conceptual problem that I understand why you're blaming Greg Roman, but this is a lot like dealing with children. Children whine about things that you can't do anything about. Okay, well, what's your solution? I don't have one. And the vicious cycle shall continue.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
All right, so Pat Shurmur, the reason that name is so stuck in my mind is because I saw the other day that the Washington Commanders had interviewed him or had scheduled him for an interview for their offensive coordinator job, and I just thought that was absolutely hilarious because you're potentially going from Scott Turner to Pat Shurmur. I feel like that is just 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But we do have some news as far as the potential sale of the Washington Commanders. And it doesn't at the moment appear like this is going to go the way that we had all expected it would go. Because did you know that Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, did not put in an official bid for this team? Now, he still can. He still can. But at the original call of, hey, what's your bid, Jeff Bezos didn't put one in. I think that's a little surprising. But
that does surprise me.
But there is some thought that maybe he's not interested in the Washington Commanders just at this moment, that there's another team that's going to come up for sale here pretty soon that he would be way more interested in. And that is the Seattle Sea Chickens. With the death of Paul Allen, and as they go through trying to
it's in a trust with his sister,
divvy his estate up, there is no sale coming immediately or even in the next 10 to 20 years, according to Mrs. Allen. I forgot her name. I apologize. But his sister said that could take 10 to 20 years to do something with this team. But maybe that's what Bezos is in on. Although it's still open, he can still throw in a bid at any time. But at the moment, it's not Jeff Bezos. And apparently Dan and Tanya Snyder don't want to sell to Jeff Bezos for some reason. I don't know why that would be.
I don't try to figure out why Daniel Snyder does anything that Daniel Snyder does.
It's a great point. But at the moment, it looks like the leading candidate or potential owner for the Washington Commanders would be Josh Harris. Josh Harris, who already owns the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils. He apparently is the top bidder at the moment, according to sources.
I don't know who that guy is, but he has apparently got a lot of cash.
Indeed he does.
Was I today years old when I found out the Australian Open was happening right now?
I guess so.
I'm not a huge tennis person. Did you know that?
Yeah.
How?
They
apparently play it at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I've seen the commercials that the Aussie Open was happening.
Which last night became a bit of a problem because there was a 5-hour and 45-minute match between Andy Murray and I cannot say that name. I've tried, and it will not end well, and I will be made fun of for how I pronounce it, so I'm not going to try.
Nice.
Well, I was also today years old when I learned that every tennis player has their allocation of bathroom breaks. You only get one. You only get one throughout the entire match, no matter how long it lasts. Well, last night, apparently, Andy Murray had a bit of a tirade because he had to go TT. And they would not allow him to.
Nice.
Because this match had gone on for 5 hours and 45 minutes. After the fourth set, which he won, he apparently asked to go to the potty. And the judge said, nope. No, sir. I'm ready to go home. It is 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm tired.
That's crap.
He went
that's
absolutely
crap.
Ballistic.
He should have.
But
he should have just whipped it out and went on the court right there.
That probably would have still put this story in this segment with maybe a little bit of a different take on it.
Sure. They wouldn't let me go to the bathroom, so here's the footage of Andy Murray in the corner, like just trying to be discreet about it.
Andy Murray whizzed in a tennis ball can.
He wears those little shorty shorts. He can, it's easy access. I mean,
I never really thought about this because it's not a team sport.
I haven't either. I've always thought like, hey, I gotta go. They're like, okay, go ahead.
This is not a team. This is an individual sport. So it's not like in football, the defense goes out there, in comes the offense, and now the defensive guys, if you've got the problem, then you can take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
I also always wondered about this with NASCAR drivers.
Oh, they just go.
In the suit?
They wear diapers. Yeah. That's well known.
Not to me, it's not. There is no profession. There is no profession. There is no amount of money that you could possibly give me where you at some point would look at me and go, well, at some point you're just going to have to soil yourself. Where I would go, I'm good with this.
Yeah. Hey, you're in the middle of a 500-lap race. You can't really just stop and go potty break.
I'd never thought about it.
Plus you're sweating so much, so I mean that has a lot to do with it, that you won't build up as much to have to go. But yeah, you're definitely piddling in your pants.
Yeah, I'm out. Anything where part of in the job description must be comfortable soiling oneself. I'm out.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. I thought you were going to bring up the fact that the Americans are kicking tail at the Australian Open. No.
I wouldn't know.
Wouldn't know.
My wife played college tennis. She watches tennis. And I will see it on my television and will immediately just go out of the room like, nope, can't do it. I can watch it live. Now, if we were in the building, that's one thing, because there's a lot of things that go – in terms of watching it on television, that is, to me, the living human equivalent of watching someone play Pong. And I'm pass, personally. But thank you.
Not interested.
No.
Okay.
No. None of the arguing sports. Soccer, hockey, tennis, no, I'm out.
Yeah. You had Mackenzie McDonald knocked off Rafael Nadal.
I saw that Rafael Nadal lost
in the first round. And then I think I saw earlier today where another American had knocked off the number 2 seed in the tournament. So, I mean, look, this is another reason, like, obviously Tennessee is a very niche sport, or tennis is a very niche sport.
You were just trying to find a reason to throw shade at Tennessee.
I guess I was. It's subliminal. It's subconscious. It's all.
And our resident Canadan, Mr. Armchair Commentary, said, "But you will bet on them all because #degenerate," and that's probably the most accurate thing you'll hear all day.
Right. Jensen Brooksby, that was his name. Knocked off the number 2 seed. So Americans are doing pretty well in this sport. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Wind advisories up until noon on Friday. Cold front blasting into the mountains of western North Carolina, and a lot of jet stream level winds also kicking up some 50-mile-per-hour wind gust for tonight and first half of Friday, especially in some of the mountaintops. 35 degrees our low for tonight, with most of the rains out of here. Sunny and breezy on Friday, cooler, high 46, low 25. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with tools to do incredible things, because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
I never write reviews, but Navage is so amazing I had to leave one. Nothing's ever cleared out my sinuses as well. I'm blown away by how Navage works. That's a review from Carrie, and it's one of over 100,000 online testimonials praising Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I've talked about flushing out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs. How Navage's powered suction can help you breathe better, and how your nose is the body's air filter, and Navage will clean it out. But don't take my word for it. What do people like Chad say, who wrote, Navage has helped clear out my nasal passages every single night. My wife says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
For more information about contests on the station, log on to espnavl.com.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Okay, so Jamie Moyer is a former Major League Baseball pitcher.
Jamie Lee Curtis was in Halloween.
Jason Boyer is the meteorologist for News 13.
Correct.
Josh Boyer is the former defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. He was let go, or is in the process of being let go, by the Miami Dolphins. And here again, I feel like this is, you get to a point where you've just had enough. 3 seasons, and this Miami Dolphins defense has been disappointing at each and every step. Just like the Baltimore offense, just like the Tampa Bay offense. Well, just this year, mainly. But it comes a time where you have to say enough is enough, and we got to make a change.
It's hard for when you look up and down that Miami defense, it is hard for you to have that much talent and be that uneven. Because there were times they were good. It was never in the most crucial spots, but
I mean, we constantly talked about all season long how bad the secondary was, despite the fact that they have paid $1 bajillion to 2 members of that secondary.
Well, Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. The problem with Byron Jones is he virtually never plays.
Mm-hmm. And Xavier Howard, I mean, I felt like you had to pay him after that 10 interception season that he had.
Now, let me tell you a dirty little secret about players like that. You never have to pay them. I mean, name me a highly paid a corner, off-ball linebacker, anything like that. Name me one of those players that you look at and go, man, that defense couldn't survive without them. Weird. Buffalo Bills don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City Chiefs don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati Bengals don't really have one. Weird how that works.
But you did at one point, right?
Name them.
Jalen Ramsey?
That's the Rams, and you saw how that went.
Oh, I get it, but I mean,
I would argue that's the problem with the Rams is that they have 7 really highly paid players, and 5 of them play positions that are really easy to mitigate.
I mean, I get all contracts. All contracts go bad at some point.
No doubt.
But at some point, he was worth
corners
that, right?
Corners tend to go poorly in about a year. Even, all right, I'll use Jalen Ramsey. He got picked on at times this year too.
Mm-hmm.
But Miami has the talent if the defense was coordinated in an even halfway reasonable fashion. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I saw Miami up close and personal their last game of the regular season. If Joe Falco was a living, breathing quarterback, they would not have been in the playoffs because there were plenty of open receivers that Joe Flacco could not hit. Whether it's because the pressure was getting to him, whatever the case may be, that defense left a lot to be desired.
Mm-hmm.
But I find it to be a pretty attractive job.
Right. Here's the thing that I struggle with every coach. And this is every coach. When you have one thing that you specialize in, that you grew doing, and then you get a bigger job and you can't do that anymore, we'll call this Mike Zimmering or Todd Bowlesing, or there's so many examples.
Well, Todd Bowles, I've never actually seen him be all that great as a coordinator. He can come into a good defense and not crash it into the rocks for about a year.
As you saw in 2020.
Slowly keeps regressing
right.
every single year.
Right, but what I'm saying is the defense is struggling, and you're a defensive guy as the head coach. Like, you should get a lot of the blame for that. And I feel the same way about Josh Boyer. He came up as the defensive passing game coordinator. Like, you were supposed to be good at coaching the secondary, and that's the worst part of your defense. It is not even close.
Unequivocally.
Right. So,
and it's where you spent the most money. You had to go give up a first-round pick to get Bradley Chubb to try to mitigate it halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah. So the Miami Dolphins have made the tough decision. I hate that cookie-cutter statement. It was a really tough decision. Was it, though?
Yeah, or was it you got into a room the minute the season ended and went, I hope you rented, because that house is not going to sell quick.
Right. You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. The New England Patriots are after an offensive coordinator, and they had a very important meeting today with the guy who could be the next OC in Foxborough. We'll talk about that up next.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Is it getting harder to find new customers? After all, it's one thing to run a business and another to grow it, especially these days. But what if you had access to everyone listening to me right now? Access to all the customers in your area. As the #1 audio company in America, iHeartMedia gives you access to all the customers you need to grow at a fraction of the cost of digital, video, and social advertising, with experts ready to craft your message fast. Get started today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Saturday, January the 21st, it's the Asheville Hot Chocolate Races, celebrating 15 years of running. Choose from a 5K, a 10K, or a half marathon, plus the kids' 1K hill climb or marshmallow dash. It's a downhill start and uphill finish, and the heart of the race is by the beautiful French Broad River. And at the end, you get to enjoy the best hot chocolate in town. The race benefits the Isaac Dixon Parent Teacher Organization. For more information and to get signed up, go to hotchocolateraces.com. That's hotchocolateraces.com. Proudly sponsored by iHeartMedia, Asheville.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. The New England Patriots, well, Bill learned a tough lesson this year.
Did he, though?
No, he really didn't. But, look, it's not often that you get Bill Belichick to say, okay, maybe I screwed that up.
Yeah, Pat Matricia was not the right person to coordinate this offense.
No.
Or Joe Judge.
No.
So surely he's going to find somebody that's outside of the – oh, no. Oh, no, you've interviewed 3 people, and they're all Bill guys. All of them, every single one of them.
Every single one of them. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Today, completing his interview for the offensive coordinator open position with the New England Patriots was Bill O'Brien.
And the saddest part is that is the best hire he could make of all the people that they've so much as acknowledged.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Nick Haley? The Jets interviewed him.
Nick Haley?
Is it Nick Haley?
Haley.
Oh, please don't do that.
And they apparently requested to talk to Keenan McCardell, but he's not answering his phone.
He didn't answer?
I don't know.
I was about to say.
It's officially listed as requested.
He set up an interview.
Okay.
Bill's been very high on Keenan McCardell for a long time. And that wouldn't be a terrible hire.
No.
I'm just watching this going, okay, when is Bill going to at some point figure out I need to get out of this little bubble that I'm in?
Never.
Because the Tom days are over. And I know that hurts to hear.
But he would have to come to the realization that it was mostly Tom and not him, and I don't think he's capable.
I don't either. That's the thing that scares me the most about New England. Look, you have the most limited quarterback in the NFL.
Okay.
Name me one worse. Name me a starting quarterback in the NFL that's more limited than Mac Jones. And yes, I'm including Justin Fields, Zach Wilson.
I was going to say Justin Fields, but at least Justin Fields can run, and he's dynamic in that way.
Really, really
exactly.
well. Mac Jones is the, what did you say, Melba toast of NFL quarterbacks.
That's what you say.
He is a crouton, and that is the nicest way I can say it.
And not like one of the good, like, garlic
not a Texas toast.
No.
No, this is one that comes in a shaker bottle. It's got bacon bits in it.
Right. It could also be used to line a gerbil cage.
Correct. And yet here Bill is doing the same thing over again. And what scares me is that screams to me, no, you didn't actually learn the lesson. You did not learn the lesson of you cannot just keep lathering up and doing this the same way. Because the league is not the same. I think Tom's figuring that out as well.
Mm-hmm.
The days of, I'm just going to out-scheme you. And look, I've got all these little 5'9" receivers that run a 4.7 and they get open with screens.
Yeah, at some point you have to get close with talent and execution.
Yeah, at some point you need the guy that can beat you over the top. At some point you need an original offense. And I'm going to say the same thing I just said about Lamar, because you're going up against play callers like Andy Reid, who just played Ring Around the Rosie in the last game of the regular season.
which I thought was hilarious.
I did too.
I loved it. And it got panned. Like, it got panned by more people than I thought would. Like, oh, what is this? This is so unprofessional. No, this was exciting. This was fun. It was a nice little play and scoreboard.
It was good. You just didn't like it because your team didn't come up with it.
Right, exactly.
And you know how I know that? Because I felt the same way.
Bill O'Brien could be the next offensive coordinator again for the New England Patriots. But let's be honest. This would be probably the best move he can make. Who else is going to take that job? Who else is signing up for this? I mean, Bill O'Brien won and helped win a national championship with this quarterback, right?
Yeah,
so,
but we're getting into Hurricane Rock again.
Just saying.
Still Nick Saban. Okay, weird. Every offensive coordinator that's been there has had some level of success. That's not really what I'm hanging my hat on if I'm turning to Bill O'Brien.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're turning to the experience. To a guy who's been a head coach in this league, a guy who's run offenses.
He was not as you said before the show, he wasn't a bad coach in the league.
No, he was a good coach.
He's a terrible personnel guy.
100%.
As bad as there has ever been in NFL history.
Once they gave him power in Houston to make all the decisions, eventually that just went south, like way south. I think this could be a good move for New England.
I mean, to me, it's boring. It's more of Bill Belichick, and I just have this funny feeling that we're going to line up next year. You've got an ascending Jets team, what I feel is an ascending Dolphins team, and the Bills, who to me have the most talented roster in the league.
Yep.
And so now you're going to come in here with old school Bill O'Brien. What exactly do you think that's going to do? Because that has LMNO 6 and 11 written all over it.
And I'm corrected. No Smile says no, Bob was not there with Mac. So that's right. He's been there the last two seasons.
He was there with Bryce Young.
Yeah. No, he did not coach with Mac. And so that maybe that's the window for them to finally realize that your next franchise quarterback is Bailey Zappi. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Wind advisories up until noon on Friday. Cold front blasting into the mountains of western North Carolina, and a lot of jet stream level winds also kicking up some 50-mile-per-hour wind gust for tonight and first half of Friday, especially in some of the mountaintops. 35 degrees our low for tonight, with most of the rains out of here. Sunny and breezy on Friday, cooler, high 46, low 25. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by SRGExpress.com. Use the experts on hiring for accounting roles. Visit SRGExpress.com to connect with the accounting workforce pros. The specialized recruiting group takes an individual approach, placing people in contract and full-time roles. SRGExpress.com.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello,
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
You might not have the biggest garage on the block, but with eBay Motors, there's 122 million parts right at your fingertips, whatever you need. There's something that fits your vehicle. Air filters, tires, seat covers, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
The Sportsocracy.
One thing that you're going to have to remember, one most important factor, is to protect your quarterback, me.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Several changes in Tampa Bay. 3 days after the season-ending loss in the NFC wildcard game to the Cowboys, the Buccaneers fired offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich. 8 other coaches have left the staff. Tampa Bay in 2022 ranked 25th in the NFL in points per game, averaging 18.4 points. Also had the worst rushing attack in the league. Greg Roman stepped down as Ravens offensive coordinator amid massive criticism and player frustration. Baltimore's scoring had decreased in each of Roman's 4 seasons as the team's play caller. This move likely made with pending free agent quarterback Lamar Jackson in mind, says Fitz and Harry co-host Harry Douglas.
This could be a stepping stone in the direction that the Baltimore Ravens needed to go for Lamar Jackson, number one, to thrive as a quarterback, even more so than he has since he's been in the National Football League, but also a stepping stone for them to repair their relationship that has been rocky the last few weeks.
Coach John Harbaugh said Jackson will be involved in the search for the team's new OC. NBA Celtics guard Jaylen Brown with an adductor strain questionable against the Warriors tonight, 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Now from the ESPN Studios in New York.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Pay. That's pay. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from ESPN Asheville.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and we are seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel, and do not forget to join us in the chat each and every day. Get those live alerts whenever we are here in the Ingles studio on ESPN Asheville. And it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday, and I hear something on the other side. Is there a Jones Angell?
Tank, we've done it. We've done it. We've connected via the telephone. Good to be with you again.
Huzzah! All is right with the world again. It is Tar Heel time with the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Jones Angell, and on the hard court, the Tar Heels. You know, you had the loss to Virginia since we last talked, but other than that, things have been coming up aces for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, and good to be back with you. And you know, the thing, Tank, is Carolina's been playing fine. I mean, they've been doing okay. I do think that it really the next couple of weeks are going to tell us a lot more about the Tar Heels. You know, they have an 8-game stretch here coming up, kind of bookend by 2 games against NC State, one this Saturday and then one later in the year in Raleigh. And those 8 games are all against teams that are in the top half of the ACC. And it's such a cluttered ACC right now. I think it is 9 teams with between 1 and 3 losses in conference play, with Clemson being the only one that has 1, and then everybody else has 2 or 3. And so all these games coming up for Carolina are all against teams in that group. And so there'll be a ton of separation here coming up for the Tar Heels. And those games include 2 against State. There's Miami, there's Clemson, there's Duke in there, there's Pitt. Tar Heels play them again. They go to Wake Forest, who's playing really well. So, yeah, there's a lot of really tough games in there. So I think we'll start learning more about Carolina moving forward. Now, in the time period since you and I last talked, the Virginia game was a frustrating one simply because Armando Bacot, went out so quickly. And so, you look at Carolina's record, and in conference play, the Heels are 5-3, and 2 of those 3 losses, Armando Bacot didn't play. And so that doesn't guarantee a victory, of course, but when you take away Carolina's leading scorer and rebounder and one of the favorites for ACC Player of the Year, that's obviously going to be an impactful injury. And I do think it has hurt Carolina each time, the Virginia Tech and the Virginia game, in which Armando was not available. The Louisville game, Carolina was kind of a little sloppy in the first 5 or 6 minutes, and then just did what it should do. Louisville's having a really, really tough season. Carolina was able to grab control of that game with a big run over the last 12-ish minutes of the first half, and then was leading by somewhere between 18 and 23 or 4 or so for a majority of the second half. And so you felt good for Carolina in that it went on the road, that Tar Heels needed to get a true road win, but that's also a game, I think, while Louisville has more talent than its record would suggest, I felt like that was kind of what Carolina should do in that game. And then you had BC on Tuesday, and Tank, it was just kind of Carolina did not have its A-plus game. I'm not even sure it had its B game in that game. And BC, as it seems to do, especially in Chapel Hill, just kind of slowed the game down and made it muddy and ugly, and Carolina was able to just outlast Boston College. But I don't think you left that game going, man, Tar Heels are clicking on all cylinders. And so that's why I do think starting this Saturday, it's just such an important stretch for the Heels. They're fine right now. The record's fine. Their placement in the league is fine, but they want to be better than that. They feel like they have a team that can achieve more than that. And so we're going to start learning those things here coming up over the next few weeks.
And especially when you look at, rivalry game.
Sure.
Game this Saturday with NC State, a team that, just knocked off Miami last weekend in an overtime game. They beat Duke pretty handily. 24 points. That even caused this born and bred Tar Heel fan to go, good for you, Wolfpack, as they just demolished Duke a couple of games ago. So, they're on a 4-game winning streak right now, and it's going to be, it's going to be a tough test for the Tar Heels.
Oh, absolutely. And of these 8 games that I kept referencing, 4 of them are against State, Duke, and Wake Forest. And so, teams that obviously the Tar Heels see a bunch and are considered rivals at varying levels. And so those will be important games for a lot of reasons as Carolina goes through them. But specifically to State, their guards are so skilled. And Terquavian Smith and the transfer Jarquell Jordan from Mississippi, those guys can really score, and they can score in a variety of ways. They can hit the three, they can drive to the basket, they can get to the free throw line where they're good shooters. They're guys who you just have to be locked in on defensively from the moment the game starts till the final horn, because they can also score in bunches. And so even if you get a lead, they're the type of guys that can, 3 possessions, you're up 10, and 3 possessions later you're up 2 or 1, because they've gotten hot and hit a bunch of shots. And so that's something that you always have to be aware of. Casey Morsell, the Virginia transfer, has really done a nice job giving them a really viable threat from the three-point line. He's shooting, I think, 44% from three-point range, so he's somebody you always have to pay attention to. So if those other guards get into the lane and kick it out, if you've had to help off those drives and Morsell's open, that it's going in more times than not when he gets a clean look. And they've got a little bit of help down low. Carolina just dominated these games in the paint last year against NC State. Particularly it feels like the second game in Raleigh, it was easy for Armando Bacot down low to score, to rebound, to do his thing. They have beefed up that position a little bit with DJ Burns, the transfer from Winthrop, who has given them some consistent play down there. I know they've had some injuries with some other big guys as well, but Burns in this little winning streak that State is on has really been a big part of that with his play. And so I think State, obviously the record suggests it, but I think this is a much improved team from what has been out on the floor the last year or two, because I think they have more depth, they have more size, and they're playing a little better defense too. They've always forced turnovers under Kevin Keats, but now they are forcing turnovers, and the shooting percentage for the opponents is down. Not as many offensive rebounds for the opponents when they're able to just get 2-3 opportunities on a possession. And so it's just a team it's just better all the way around, and is confident, I'm sure, coming into the Smith Center with the way that they've been playing as of late.
Yeah, the perimeter defense is going to be very, very important in this game, and so you're going to, obviously hoping that Leakey's on his defensive game. Not that he very rarely ever is not on his defensive game, which is one of the key things that I love about Leaky Black is his defensive intensity. What have you felt about you're there for every bounce of the ball. What have you felt about the chemistry of this team as the season has gone on? I mean, obviously, we've missed Pete Nance the last few games. That's obviously a key. But I felt like, especially in that Virginia game, Jalen Washington came in. He looked pretty good.
Yeah, and then, unfortunately, Jalen couldn't play in the game against BC because of a twisted ankle before that. So don't anticipate that to be a long-term issue. Don't know that for a fact, but don't anticipate that to be a long-term issue. I'll answer that question about chemistry. I don't think there are any chemistry issues on Carolina, but I would also say I think it's hard to build that chemistry on the court when you have had so many guys in and out here recently, with Pete Nance being out, with Baycott missing a game or two, with Jalen Washington missing this last game as he was becoming more of an integral part of what the Tar Heels were doing off the bench. And so I do think that affects things when you are having to play maybe different combinations of guys or different styles of play more than you traditionally would. You want to be versatile, of course, and be able to play different ways, but I think when you're kind of forced into it, sometimes that can disrupt things. And I do think you saw that on Tuesday, for example. Pete Nance had not played. He hadn't played at all in the previous 3 games. In the 4th game, going backwards, he had only played 2 or 3 minutes against Wake Forest, and all of a sudden he's starting again and playing 30 minutes. And so you got to get back into that rhythm of, when Pete is available and on the floor and this combination. So I do think some of the chemistry is a work in progress. Again, not suggesting any kind of problems, just in the fact that you have had guys in and out of the lineup due to injuries and different varying things that have kept them off the floor. And so I think for Carolina also, it's just going to be important to settle into a little bit of a rhythm. Hopefully you got your guys back healthy. And I do think, too, Tank, something that's worth keeping an eye on is, are you able to consistently get some play from the guys who aren't starting the game? And I think you've started to see that with DeMarco Dunn, with Puff Johnson, Jalen Washington before his injury, Seth Trimble. Guys on that bench are starting, I think, to figure out what their role is and how they can be most effective and most help the team win. Carolina, obviously, at the end of last season had gone to a very, very, very short bench because that was the best way to win. This particular team looks like it is going to need contributions from those guys that I just mentioned and others. And so continuing to figure out how those roles go together and how guys, if they're only coming in for 2, 3, 4 minutes at a time, whatever it is, can they be their best and be able to contribute in the ways that they best can in that short amount of time? I think that's part of that chemistry part, too, is guys understanding that where their role is for the limited amount of time that they're out there.
I remember this time last year having the discussions over and over, and it was a constant theme on the Hubert Davis show that's on Monday nights right here on ESPN Asheville about leadership. And we don't have that guy. We're trying to find that guy. Somebody's got to step up and be the leader and take over. Are we still there, or is there a go-to now on this team as far as you can tell?
Well, this is a group that's been together for a long time. When you think about the core pieces of this team, a lot of those guys have played a lot of basketball together, and mostly talking about Davis, Love, Black, and Baycott in this discussion. To me, if you asked me who were Carolina's leaders, I would highlight Armando Baycott because I think he is the most consistent player that Carolina has. And to me, Tank, that is, this team is capable, and we've seen it. This team is capable of playing with and defeating anybody in the country. The kryptonite for this particular group of guys, and I'm not just talking about this season, I'm talking about throughout their entire tenure at Carolina, has been, can they consistently play to the level that allows them to compete with anybody in the country? That's always, in my opinion, been the question mark. That is not a question mark with Armando Bacot. Yeah, he has gotten to the point where you just kind of anticipate, there's the baseline of about 15 points and 10 rebounds, and you're going to get at least that from Armando almost every single time out. And so that level of consistency, just the game in and game out performance that he provides, to me automatically makes him one of the people that you're talking about answering this question, because he provides it with his play, and that he is doing something that all players strive to do, and that's not just be excellent, but be excellent every time you're out there. The other one I would mention is R.J. Davis, not just because he has the ball in his hands a lot, but not just because of the position that he plays, but I think his play has also shown that he is getting closer to that level of consistency. And it wasn't talked about a ton in the preseason, but you may remember, Tanky, RJ missed the exhibition game that Carolina played right at the beginning of the season, and it wasn't a big deal. And so he's not going to miss any time in the regular season, but is out for that exhibition game. Well, he had dislocated a finger in the preseason, and I do think that injury, while not super severe, I do think it had to do with some of his shooting issues earlier in the season. You look now at his last 10 games, and he's averaging 17 points per game, and he's shooting 49% from the field and 48% from the three-point line. He's been 50% or better from three in 8 of his last 10 games. And so I do think now that finger is back to normal, and it is on his shooting hand, that I think that has helped him reach the level on the court that a lot of people saw in preseason practices before Carolina ever was out there in the public eye. And so it was more of a surprise to me that he was struggling the way that he did. I'm just talking about straight shooting the ball earlier in the year. And so those would be the two that I would lean on, veteran guys who are playing big roles. And to me, Carolina needs those two, and Caleb Love to a different degree. They need those two guys to play well to be able to compete at a high level.
All right, Jones Angell, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, joining us in the Sportsocracy, as he does every Thursday. And, of course, you can hear all of the Tar Heel games right here on ESPN Asheville. Got a 5 o'clock tip on Saturday as North Carolina takes on those hated Wolfpackers from NC State. Before we let you go, I have to ask you: have you heard about the John Wall story with Tyler Hansbrough, and do you have a comment?
I have heard it. I just thought it was an odd story, and then I know Tyler came out and said that it was 100% false. I don't know. I had never heard that story before. I had never heard even anything similar to that before. That John Wall recruitment was always a little bit of a strange one. Back in his time, I'll just leave it at that. It was a unique recruitment. And so I have no idea if John Wall's telling the truth or if there was a kernel of truth in there, or no idea. I did hear the story, but I can't really expound on it either way because I don't know much about it. So kind of a he said story in that one between John Wall and Tyler Hansbrough.
Let me ask you this: you were around this team, been around this team for a long time. You're around the Tyler Hansbrough. Does that even sound like a scenario that would have happened? Where he would look at a recruit and say, "Go away."
No.
Okay.
It doesn't.
That's what I was thinking.
Right. Now is especially back then, was Tyler a little bit of an awkward guy and a little bit weird, and yeah, absolutely. And could he have been in like a zone or something and not heard somebody say something to him or something like that?
Right.
Sure, I could see that scenario happening, but for him to just look at somebody and be like, "Oh, get out of here, I'm not going to talk to you," that does not sound like the person that I remember when he was at Carolina, and would be a little unusual in my mind.
Okay, all right. Jones Angell, voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Again, hear him and the rest of the crew. Eric Montross on the call with him as well. Coming up on Saturday, 5 o'clock, right here on ESPN Asheville. Pregame will start at 4 o'clock. Tip is at 5 o'clock. All right, Jones, we'll touch base with you next Thursday.
Thanks, Tank. Talk to you soon.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. If you don't know the story, the John Wall and Tyler Hansbrough, I'll tell you, coming up next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is crawling 240 eastbound between Amboy Road and US 1923 exit 3 due to an accident. 2 right lanes blocked. 40 westbound near US 276. Traffic is slow. In Swannanoa, US 70 eastbound at Franklin Road, an accident has the road closed near Franklin Road. Merriman Avenue, north and southbound, approaching Edgewood Road, traffic is stop and go. Hendersonville Road, no delays. Sweeten Creek Road moving well. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Print and Marketing is committed to quality and printing perfect every time. Now at Staples, get $10 off your document printing and marketing materials order of $50 or more. Offer ends 2/11. See staples.com/store/printing for details. Try Staples and see the difference.
No one has the same taste as you.
You damn right.
From the music you love to the podcasts you can't live without. And only the iHeartRadio app has it all for free. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
Hello, everybody. This is good old JR Jim Ross, WWE Hall of Famer. Boy, these boys are smart. You talk about goofier than a pet coon. Let me tell you something. This show is a legitimate slobber knocker.
Back here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, and, of course, everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And, all right, so Theo Pinson has a podcast, former North Carolina Tar Heel, has a podcast called Run Your Race. And on a recent episode, he had, of course, John Wall, former NBA player, former Kentucky Wildcat. He
also a kid from Raleigh.
Yeah, he was highly recruited out of Raleigh, had all of the top teams in the country chasing him down. And he told the story of going on a recruiting visit to Chapel Hill. And that while he was there,
which was his dream school.
Yes.
Which I can confirm that is the first I've ever heard of that. followed this recruitment pretty closely. That's the first time I've ever heard him say that.
So he says he wanted to go to Carolina. Quote, that is my dream. That's my dream school. And I'll tell you a story about that a lot of people don't know. He said they screwed it up. He didn't use the word screwed, but I have to use it on FCC airwaves. He says that while he was there, he goes on the visit. Ty Lawson and the team are there, and Tyler Hansbrough's got his own section. He says, I'm the recruit. I walk up and say, what's up? And to which Tyler Hansbrough, who is probably, other than being on the basketball court in the middle of a game, a heated ACC gritty battle back in those, late 2008, 2009 era, probably comes off as the little choir boy, right? I mean, you see him out on the street like you wouldn't expect him to be snobbish and standoffish and all of that.
I don't know that I would go there.
Really? You don't think so? Anyhow.
There are some famous stories. If you don't know the weight room story about Tyler Hansbrough.
The weight room story? I feel like you need to tell this.
Yeah, I bared witness to it.
Huh. All right, hang on. Let me finish the John Wall story, and then you could tell us about that. So, anyway, he says he walked up and said, hey, what's up? And Tyler looked at him and said, I don't talk to recruits. And that's when John Wall said, screw you, I'm not coming here. This is crap. I'm not being treated this way. Which I would have the same reaction. I'm a star player in high school. I'm coming to try to be a part of your school, and here's the star player telling me to go kick rocks, basically. Well, Tyler has responded, and his response on social media was the story that John Wall told on Theo Penson's podcast did not happen. All caps, 100% false. I'm sure the Bank of Calipari had nothing to do with him going to Kentucky. Bingo.
Yeah, there it is.
Thank you, Tyler.
That would be my take. And Jones said that the John Wall recruitment was a little bizarre.
Uh-huh.
That is the nicest humanly possible way you could put that. Because John Wall made it very clear that he was going wherever the offer best suited him.
Mm-hmm.
This was before NIL, so.
This was the time of McDonald's bags full of cash.
I didn't say that. You said that.
I will say it.
What are you, a cop?
I am not a cop. And everybody plays the game. I will continue to say that as well. All right, you got to tell me and Jones says this would be completely out of character for Tyler. That's why I had to ask him that question.
He is a little bit of an aloof guy. Nice enough guy. I don't know him personally, but I know people that have been very, very close with him.
Okay.
One of my closest friends growing up played on the JV team at Carolina while Tyler Hansbrough was there.
Okay.
So I know some things that I'm not going to voice here. However, this story has become the thing of somewhat legend, and I can tell you this is true. So Carolina had at basketball camps, things like that, they would do an alumni versus the team game. It was an alumni game for a while, and then there was an element of the current team, and they've mixed this up over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when Tyler Hansbrough was a freshman, he was a very highly sought-after recruit, maybe thought a little highly of himself, and he had an opportunity where Vince Carter wound up down beneath the basket, and he dunked on Vince Carter, and Vince Carter fell down, and Tyler Hansbrough stood over him and went, "Weight room!" really loud.
Oh, gosh.
Vince Carter then made it his mission of, I am going to dunk on this Indiana kid as many times as humanly
100%.
possible.
I will leap over his forehead.
He succeeded repeatedly.
Of course.
So that is a story that I can verify is true.
Look, maybe the choir boy thing I said is a little too far afield, because no star basketball player is choir boy material. I really don't think. Everybody's got that little chip on their shoulder.
Everybody's got a little ego.
Yeah.
And look, everything I know of Tyler Hansbrough, I'll be honest with you, I don't buy this story, not even a little bit.
I don't either.
And John Wall's trying not to go too inside baseball here. For him to where you lost me was saying that Carolina was your dream school, because the insiders thought you were going to NC State because you're from Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't really lend itself to the story you're trying to sell me here. And so I didn't put any credence in it. I did not intend on telling that story, but I can tell you that's true. And he was an 18-year-old kid. There's no judgment there. I would probably have done the same thing if I was 6'10" and dunked on Vince Carter.
Absolutely.
But that was a full 10 on the FAFO scale. And he 10 fawed, and I think Vince had 32.
Yeah.
So that would be a 32 foe.
Yeah, you can go weight room when you dunk on an NBA star. You're not necessarily going weight room when you climb the Kenny George ladder, which is probably his most famous dunk. Tyler Hansbrough being in school dunking on 7'7" Kenny George from UNC Asheville will forever live in the lore of Psycho T.
Oh, and Hansbrough he's one of the greatest college basketball players ever lived.
Of all time, yeah, absolutely.
And see, that's where all of this kind of loses me. First of all, if you're so fragile that Tyler Hansbrough saying get somewhere as a high school recruit, first of all, you were, if I remember correctly, you were the number 1 recruit in the nation, or you were in the top 3, and that never stopped being the case. I struggle to believe somebody that was as committed to Carolina as Tyler Hansbrough was, and he was a senior at this time, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, that team the next year was not all that good. They went 20-17 or something like that, went up in the NIT.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy it.
I don't either.
I wasn't there, so I can't tell you it didn't happen. Everything I know tells me I'm going to say I don't buy it.
The story just does kind of strike you as weird. And here's some more weird news.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
All right, my story today comes to us from the state of Florida, Delray Beach, Florida, where a woman had to be rescued from a storm drain this past week. And here's the weird part of the story.
She was in a storm drain. I think we've already gotten that part.
This is the 3rd time she's had to be rescued from storm drains in the last 2 years. I don't know what you think is lurking down there in the sewers. Like if that's
Pennywise.
Right. Like, are you looking for Pennywise? Are you a big Harry Potter fan and you just want to find the basilisk? Or I don't know why you would be in sewer drains.
I didn't understand the second reference.
I know you didn't understand the second reference. But I'm not going to use her name here because honestly, part of me feels really bad for this woman. Because she clearly has substance abuse issues. She clearly has some kind of a mental problem going on. Because I can't imagine that this is just happenstance. That, this is the unluckiest woman in the world that she keeps finding her way into sewer systems. She's a very curious person. And every time that's happened, she has gone like swimming in a canal down in Florida and then seen an opening and just gone, I wonder what's in there. And she just like swims into the culvert. And then the first time she went missing, she was gone for 3 weeks.
Good Lord.
Her family did not raise alarms right away because they were in Bible study. And they were studying this one certain story that was all about going on your journey, and I don't think it was the story of Ruth, but I can't remember which one it was. Anyway, she told her family, "I'm gonna go on my own journey. I'm gonna find my way," and they went, "Okay." So when they didn't hear from her for a while, they didn't think anything about it. Well, then somebody reported 3 weeks after she had disappeared that there was someone in distress in the sewer system, and they rescued her. And she said she had been down there the entire time. And the only thing that she had to keep her sustained was a can of ginger ale. To me, that's remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this latest story, she wasn't down in the sewer system for 3 weeks. She was only down there for a few hours, or actually for multiple hours. I think it was about a day and a half that she had been wandering around the sewer system, to the point where the people in Delray Beach, her friends and family, had started dropping off like little care packages in the storm drains just in case she was going to be there a while. Again, I don't know what you think is down there, what you're looking for, but I'm pretty sure of all places, Florida's sewer system is not where I just want to go roaming around.
It's ironic. Your story in Weird had somebody in distress, and my story in Crimes has someone in distress. Or at least so they thought.
Mm-hmm.
My weird story comes from the University of Cal Berkeley. Who's shocked that a weird story comes from there?
No one.
Apparently, there is a building on the Clark Kerr campus that has been unused for some time. It's shuttered, it's graffiti-ridden, and somehow somebody wound up in this building on January the 10th. And they discovered something that is a little unsettling. It's a human skeleton.
Mm.
And here's the weird part. There's not a missing person from Berkeley. They don't know who this person is and where it came from. It could be a cadaver, because there is a medical university at the school. It could be a scientific skeleton that was used for display purposes, or it could be a missing person. They have no clue.
But there are no active, open missing person cases.
Nothing within 25 miles of the Berkeley campus.
Interesting.
That would fit the dimensions of this skeleton.
Right.
That's incredibly bizarre.
It is.
It's also, they don't know how long the skeleton's been there either. There's no cause of death. There's nothing on the skeleton. Usually with a skeleton, if there's been a stabbing or a shooting or something like that,
you can tell.
You can tell.
Yeah.
There's something broken on the skeleton that ultimately led to the death.
Absolutely.
There's nothing there. There's nothing that matches. There's nothing around the body. It's just a random skeleton that looks like it was placed in this unused residence hall. They are sending the skeleton to the Alameda County coroner, who will determine the cause of death and then try to use DNA to figure out who this person was.
So they do know it is a real skeleton.
Yes. This is not a fake.
Right.
This is a legitimate skeleton. But they don't know why.
Yeesh. You never know. You never know.
Could be crimes.
Could be.
Could not be crimes. You never know.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. It is almost here. Tomorrow is a football Friday. Who really needs to win this weekend? We'll start the discussion about who needs it most going forward in the playoffs next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Wind advisories up until noon on Friday. Cold front blasting into the mountains of western North Carolina, and a lot of jet stream level winds also kicking up some 50-mile-per-hour wind gust for tonight and first half of Friday, especially in some of the mountaintops. 35 degrees our low for tonight, with most of the rains out of here. Sunny and breezy on Friday, cooler, high 46, low 25. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slows west of Airport Road to Long Shoals Road. Haywood County, 40 westbound slow between NC 209 and US 276. Swannanoa, US 70 eastbound at Franklin Road, an accident. Motorists are advised to follow instructions of on-scene personnel here. Merriman Avenue, north and southbound near Edgewood Road. Traffic is stop and go. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. Taco Bell has $2 grilled chicken burritos that come in 2 bold flavors, Chipotle Ranch and Salsa Verde. They're bursting with grilled chicken and delicious sauces. Get your $2 grilled chicken burrito at participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only, while supplies last. Price and participation vary. Tax extra.
I never write reviews, but Navage is so amazing, I had to leave one. Nothing's ever cleared out my sinuses as well. I'm blown away by how Navage works. That's a review from Carrie, and it's one of over 100,000 online testimonials praising Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I've talked about flushing out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs. How Navage's powered suction can help you breathe better, and how your nose is the body's air filter, and Navage will clean it out. But don't take my word for it. What do people like Chad say, who wrote, Navage has helped clear out my nasal passages every single night. My wife says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. We'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville, or call them at 828-365-1663.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
That we do, and there are only a few weeks left in the season, but we can't get all bogged down in that.
Because once the NFL season ends, then the greatest holiday season of them all begins, which is the Draftmas season.
Indeed. This week we've got the divisional round. So we still have 8 teams alive for the Vince Lombardi Trophy. And who needs it most? Who needs to win this weekend more than anybody else?
I've already seen Stephen Tao in the comments say the Dallas Cowboys, which I knew unequivocally that's what you were going to say.
Absolutely. And I don't really think it's all that close.
Oh, I do. I don't think they're 1, and I don't think it's all that close.
Really? It's Buffalo?
The Buffalo Bills by a billion.
Okay, I mean, I get it. I get it.
Dallas has already proven they've already proven the point. They came out and slaughtered somebody in the playoffs. Dak looked like the $200 million quarterback. I know Cowboy fans don't want to hear this. You're a dog for a reason, and you're going on the road. It can't be you. Because I hate to break this to you, short of San Francisco just totally NASCAR drivering in their pants, this is not going your way.
I love that you have that knowledge now.
So it's a thing I know. I now can never watch another NASCAR race without going, I wonder if that guy's pottied on himself.
And the answer is yes.
Is probably.
Okay, so
I heard this.
So yours is the Buffalo Bills.
Unequivocally.
Yeah.
Buffalo's 1, 2, and 4. Buffalo has to get to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Because now this is how many things have to go in your narrative. And if you don't make it to the Super Bowl, I just feel like it's a complete letdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care if you lose on a field goal from 62 as time expires. It's a letdown.
All right. I fully understand where you're coming from here. The Buffalo Bills, they need to win. They need a playoff win. They need to get to the Super Bowl. They need to win a Super Bowl. They need to get off the schneid here because they're seen as historically the losers of the NFL. It's them and Minnesota, right? Those are the 2 teams that have been 4 times to the Super Bowl and lost.
Yes.
Only Buffalo did it 4 years in a row. I get it. But here's my thing with Dallas is you have to prove at some point that you belong. And you didn't do that this past week.
But that's not the point. The point is that you went into Tampa, you won a road playoff game, and Dak showed he could be that guy. I don't care that it was against the Todd Bowles defense. He showed, and it's something that I'll never unsee. He showed that he could be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an aura around the Dallas Cowboys. And my question is your window in any way closing? No.
For Dallas?
No. Tell me what they have that's aging. The offensive line. Well, I got Tyler Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Tyler Smith's the left tackle of the future, and I think we all know that.
Yes.
Zach Martin's not that old. Dak Prescott's contract has already started. CeeDee Lamb's still on a rookie deal. I could keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons, same way.
Mm-hmm.
That window's not getting smaller. Josh Allen's deal kicks in next year. So his cap number goes from decent to a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're falling out of the window. This is your best chance to win a Super Bowl. It will get harder every single year. And this almost feels like a bell curve to me. All right, you've gotten one step further every year. Now you have to skip a step and get to the Super Bowl, and you need to win it.
Mm-hmm.
And anything short of that is a letdown.
Okay.
Dallas, this exact same team could return next year. It would shock no one. And eventually you're going to get out of that albatross deal that is Ezekiel Elliott and figure out that Tony Pollard's the best running back on this team. Add another one to pair with him that's, I don't know, reasonably priced.
Right.
And you're still in the same window. Nothing drastically changes with Dallas.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm looking down the path here. If the San Francisco 49ers just dog walk them.
But would that surprise you in any way?
It wouldn't really surprise me in any way, but at that point, the heat gets too hot for the kitchen. If I'm.
So what's different about this year from every other year?
It's not.
That's the point.
It's not really different. It's just the temperature gets turned up the more and more and more and more you do this.
This is already the hottest kitchen in the NFL. Unequivocally, it's the most popular team. It's the most scrutinized team. It's the most viewed team. This year's no different than any other.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons that I think they actually might play with San Francisco. I'm not telling you they're going to beat them. I just could easily see a path that this game is closer than you think.
I can as well. I like San Francisco, but if that Dallas team shows up, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for San Francisco. Now, they have a lot going for them. Obviously, they have the better coach. They don't have the better quarterback, in my opinion, but they have the better roster, in my opinion. And they're at home. So it would be a complete letdown for San Francisco. And in that sense, maybe San Francisco should be higher on the list than Dallas.
And see, I can't put San Francisco very high. You have Mr. Irrelevant playing quarterback for you.
Yep.
That takes all the pressure off of it. Now, it might amp some up on Kyle Shanahan if he lets down here. Say he puts Brock Purdy in some weird position and he starts making those gunslinger type throws that he made against Seattle. And now instead of being, you just completed that by just a hair, now they're interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
That could be turned on him, but I don't think that's on the team. Plus, the team is in a rather large window. Tell me what player you could lose in San Francisco that makes you go, I feel completely different about this team.
Yeah. But I also feel like if Buffalo loses, what changes? They're still going to go into next year as the favorite.
But now you've been the favorite 3 years in a row. Now you're turning into the Dallas Cowboys of you have this hype every year and you never pay it off.
You keep saying that, but every year Kansas City's been the favorite.
Not according to Vegas, they haven't.
Really?
This is 2 years in a row that Buffalo's been the favorite.
Really?
Yes. And the year before that, they were 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
That was after the Josh Allen leap forward. So, I mean, you can't be Buffalo's been the consensus favorite to be in the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. Eventually, you piddle yourself. It's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take into the fact that the biggest narrative around this team in their franchise's history was losing 4 Super Bowls in a row. And then it gets into your head of, is this Jim Kelly all over again? This team was this good and we got 0 rings out of it. For me, it's Buffalo. It's not even close.
Yeah, the problem for Buffalo was there was always a team standing in their way. You had the Giants standing in their way. You had the Dallas Cowboys and that great era of the mighty trio standing in their way. And see, now you're just, to me, you're back in the same boat. Now you're trying to, knock off Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
But it wasn't Pat Mahomes last year. It was Cincinnati. And you've still got all
of
these.
Yeah, but you got beat by Kansas City.
And I understand that. But the team that wound up in the Super Bowl was Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, you look. We have done this in every generation of NFL football. There has been a high-level, super talented team that just could not get across the threshold. In the 80s, it was Dan Fouts and the Chargers. The 90s, it was Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins. Jim Kelly, he at least got to the Super Bowl. He couldn't win one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm afraid that if you keep doing this as Buffalo, you become that team. Bill Buttigieg in our YouTube comment said, I believe in Buffalo more than Buffalo believes in Buffalo. Trust me. Asheville Police Chief David Zach, pretty connected in that community. No, I do not. Every Buffalo Bill fan thinks they're going to go in this week. DeMar Hamlin's going to show up. They house Cincinnati, and then they have the AFC Championship game with Kansas City, and they're the team of destiny, and they're going to ride off into the sunset and win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But every one of them in the back of their head goes, but what if we don't?
Yep.
No other team has that. Kansas City gets beat, who cares? Been 3 AFC Championship games in a row. We can't win them all. Jacksonville, we're not supposed to be here. New York Giants, we're not supposed to be here. San Francisco, we're playing a rookie that nobody gave any shot to be that good. Cincinnati, our luck ran out. Zach Taylor's not that great of a coach. Our line was killed. We're still set up for the next 10 years with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Buffalo's the one you look at and go, that narrative gets really loud if you let down here.
Yeah, one team that we didn't mention there, the Philadelphia Eagles. Where do they rank on the scale? Let's talk about that coming up next here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 eastbound slowing between the French Broad River and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Haywood County, 40 westbound light delays between NC 209 and US 276. In Swannanoa, US 70 eastbound at Franklin Road, an accident. Motorists are advised to follow instructions of on-scene personnel. On the westbound side of US 70 at Franklin Road, one travel lane blocked by the same accident. Merriman Avenue, north and southbound, approaching Edgewood Road, delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by First Restoration Services of Asheville.
First Restoration Services has been responding 24/7 to property damage from water, fire, and storm damage since 1987. If you have a disaster on your property, there's only one company to call first. First Restoration Services of Asheville, 684-1582.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about that sound? You're listening to a set of GE appliances, complete with all you need to keep food fresh, dishes clean, and everything else stress-free. Making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Get up to 25% off select GE appliances right now. Offer valid January 5th through January 25th, 2023. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Rachel Bonetta here, host of the Benched with Bonetta podcast, and now the NFL Game Day View podcast. Join me, Cynthia Freeland, Greg Rosenthal, and Patrick Claybon as we break down the week of games. We're going to give you our predictions on things such as how many points will be scored in each game, who is going to win, and how they will do it. Listen to new episodes of the NFL Game Day View podcast every Friday on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
So we were talking who needs it most, who needs to win in this divisional round most, and not one of us said the name Philadelphia Eagles. Now, is that because there's no pressure here?
I believe that's part of it. Part of it is we haven't seen Jalen Hurts do it in the playoffs. And I think there is – I mean, first of all, I don't know how healthy he is. He did not look good in Week 18.
No.
And so I don't know. That's the team that never even crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's because I don't buy Nick Sirianni, and I never really have.
Well, and part of me thinks, I don't know that it's not a belief in Nick Sirianni or the coaching staff or Jalen Hurts or whatever. I feel like you're so – I don't know. I feel like it's still early. I mean, this is year 2, right?
And that's a big part of it too.
Right, like you're
now,
already –
I will say, in terms of – if we're talking contracts, you got one more year before you got to pay Jalen Hurts, and then this gets exponentially more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But it may even just be the mindset. ESPN.com had a cover story today of how Howie Roseman built the best roster in the NFL, and I laughed audibly.
He did that thing where he looked at me and goes, really? Are they, though?
San Francisco and Buffalo called. They would like a word. The best roster in the league. Okay, we have officially gone to the loony bin.
I don't think it's as far off as you think.
To me, it's a marked discrepancy.
I mean, I'm
not telling you this team's awful. Mm-hmm. I would say they're 3, but best roster in the league? Really? Really? Okay.
Hell of an offensive line.
This has massive letdown written all over it to me.
Hell of an offensive line. You got Lane Johnson coming back from an injury here that's going to make them, firmer on the offensive line, protect Jalen Hurts, open those lanes for Miles Sanders and company to run through. I just feel like that's a team also that nobody's really expecting them to win. Like maybe this week against the Giants, sure. But
universally,
it's
been whoever
right.
wins Dallas, San Francisco is going to be the team that makes it to the Super Bowl.
Right.
I've heard that a lot.
Right.
I've said that a couple times, actually.
It's still too early to expect or demand playoff success from the Philadelphia Eagles, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But that's why they didn't get mentioned in that last segment. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Wind advisories up until noon on Friday. Cold front blasting into the mountains of western North Carolina, and a lot of jet stream level winds also kicking up some 50-mile-per-hour wind gust for tonight and first half of Friday, especially in some of the mountaintops. 35 degrees our low for tonight, with most of the rains out of here. Sunny and breezy on Friday, cooler, high 46, low 25. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 eastbound slowing between the French Broad River and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Haywood County 40 westbound light delays between NC 209 and US 276. In Swannanoa, US 70 eastbound at Franklin Road, an accident. Motorists are advised to follow instructions of on-scene personnel. On the westbound side of US 70 at Franklin Road, one travel lane blocked by the same accident. Merriman Avenue, north and southbound, approaching Edgewood Road, delays. I'm Lindenfield with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer. When temperatures drop, COVID-19 cases may rise. So if you test positive and are at high risk, act fast. Even if your symptoms feel mild, ask your provider if an authorized oral treatment could be right for you. Visit treatcovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer. When temperatures drop, COVID-19 cases may rise. So if you test positive and are at high risk, act fast. Even if your symptoms feel mild, ask your provider if an authorized oral treatment could be right for you. Visit treatcovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Byron Leftwich has been fired after four years as the Buccaneers offensive coordinator. The move, part of an overhaul by head coach Todd Bowles, which also included 8 other coaches leaving the staff. Bucs had a big drop-off in 2022, averaged a little more than 18 points a game. They also had the NFL's worst rushing attack. The firing of Leftwich, though, a little curious for Canty and Carlin co-host Chris Canty.
So they fired the Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator, and they pin this underwhelming season on him, but they keep the Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator in Todd Bowles when he's proven that he can't do the job. I mean, he's literally shown us in a 5-season sample size, including his tenure with the Jets, that he's not a good NFL head coach.
Chris Canty on Greene. Amid declining results and mounting criticism, Greg Roman stepped down as Ravens offensive coordinator. Coach John Harbaugh said Lamar Jackson, a pending free agent, is their quarterback, and he will be involved in the team's search for a new OC. NBA Celtics go for an 8th consecutive win when they welcome the Warriors tonight. Coverage at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
The new Venture X card from Capital One. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel, plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, bank. That's bank. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from ESPN Asheville.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And we appreciate all of you joining us here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. And, of course, the Sportsocracy heard everywhere you go with the iHeartRadio app. You can also take us with you everywhere and watch us on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can get the alerts whenever we go live, whenever the mock draft will be coming out. The Flostradamus version 5 mock draft will be coming out, we'll just say either tomorrow or sometime over the weekend. We've ran into some production snafus.
Well, as we always do, we try to throw a lot of things into the production and make it look all snazzy. And it will.
Indeed. So you get the alerts whenever we go live. We are planning at this moment. I think the last time we talked about this, Jeremy, we were planning to do live reactions of the championship games coming up on January the 29th.
We have been asked about doing live watch party games. Well, we have something planned for the Super Bowl that we will let you know in the coming days.
Mm-hmm.
I have to get on a bird the next day after the conference championship games, so I may not have 27 domestic lights like I did last year, but. We will be doing both of those games live on the YouTube channel, answering all your questions. We'll talk draft. We'll talk all the things. And we'll see if my wife can somehow produce 5 free pizzas again like she did last year.
Oh, that'd
from
be great.
Literally every delivery place. I'm telling you, if I looked like her, I would be the president of the United States of America. It still blows my mind that she just walked into 5 different establishments and went, hey, we got two guys from ESPN Radio, and they're hungry, and they just went,
Here.
Here.
Have some pizza.
Still maintain Pizza Hut cheated with that spicy pizza, and I'm still angry that they do not have that on the menu.
It was totally worth it.
It was so good.
It was totally worth it. Yes. So anyway,
so if you own a fast food place or some kind of food place and you would like to, maybe be involved, get some free love, Jeremy at thesportsocracy.com. That's up to you, though.
Right.
You do what you want to do.
We are coming to you from the Ingles Studio. So subscribe to the channel. Join us in the chat. And, yeah. So today's the daily draft, today's daily draft will be all about who did themselves the most favors in contract negotiations going forward with the breakout season that they had. Bill Barnwell of ESPN had a very lengthy article come out today highlighting the ones that he believes.
That's his whole week's worth, or a whole week's work, because I think it's about 20,000 words.
It is. But Bill Barnwell breaking this down for us, and so we will select who did themselves the most favors this year in future contract talks on the daily draft. And I have the first pick because I smoked Jeremy yesterday in the fast food breakfast sandwich draft.
We could have done a daily draft of favorite Jeremy shirts, and Tank would still have the number one pick.
So today, my first pick, I think it's pretty obvious.
Is it, though?
Well, look, it's actually a close call for me between two guys, but I'm going to go with the one that I believed the least in coming
Technically,
into
it would
the
be
season.
believed in the least, but
Oh, there you go. Whatever. Going into the season, and
hey,
that
we have a commercial with a grammatical inaccuracy.
It's true.
Who's shot?
It's true.
It's what we do.
What are you, a cop? The number one pick today.
Hey, I found it. It's
There
been
you
behind
go.
my computer the whole time.
The number one pick today is going to be Daniel Jones, the quarterback of the New York Giants, because, I mean, look, I came into the season thinking that this guy's probably bottom 8 quarterback in the league. Now I'm convinced that he's at least top 14, which is a big jump for me.
So that is what you just said is the reason that he's not clearly the answer to me.
Okay.
Because the name of the exercise was who made themselves the most money. What does Daniel Jones' contract look like now? All right, so we thought he was going to be a backup quarterback going into this year.
Yes.
He was a 3-year starter, 4-year starter. So that leads you to, I don't know, what, $8-10 million a year as a backup?
Mm-hmm.
Get the Chase Daniel treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, where's he at now? We said this the other day. It's not like the Giants are going to bargain against themselves.
No, but I think he's solidly at 27.
That's high for me.
Really?
Because who else is going to give it to him?
I don't know.
See, that's where I think Daniel Jones' negotiating power falls apart. Now, if he were to somehow beat the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend, that could change.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could look at that and go, okay, you've won 2 playoff games, one against Kirk Cousins, one against Jalen Hurts, and that talented Philadelphia roster, both of them on the road. Maybe this is not just a Brian Daboll thing. Maybe you actually can work in this league, and that's actually how bad Joe Judge was. I don't feel like I feel like that's hard to get to. And so for me, I think he's more in the 2-year, $20 million range with escalators for Pro Bowls and playoff appearances and things like that. That might ultimately get him to 25.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's about a $15 million difference. He still should have been drafted in this. It's just not the no doubt number one for me.
Okay.
Because there is a no doubt number one for me, and it's the name I just said. It's Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jalen Hurts went from what I thought to be $8 to $10 million compete for a starter spot. He's probably in the $40 million range now. I didn't say I liked it.
Yeah.
I said that's where it's at. And there's nothing you can do. I know we have Eagle fans that listen to this show. In the comments, if you ever wanted a time that I guarantee you can be heard, Tell me what your reaction would be to Philadelphia going any direction but Jalen Hurts. Because you've seen it. You're the one seed in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about fans is rational is not always in their vernacular. Because Philadelphia beat up on a lot of bad teams. Not saying they can't keep doing that. Not saying they couldn't beat good teams. I just didn't see you play that many of them. You played Kirk Cousins in primetime. You beat the Dallas Cowboys before I think they actually made a jump at some point in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Gardner Minshew in the third one. I don't really know how to gauge that. You played very close with them, but you lost. So for me, I look at Jalen Hurts and go, you probably made yourself $150 million this year. I struggle to believe anybody else did better than that.
Right. And that's just in the next contract.
That's just in the next 5 years, yeah. If he signs a 5-year deal, I think he went from they made the playoffs last year, but I never felt like it was because of him.
No.
And I think he would have been – if Philadelphia had a better option at quarterback, I think they would have taken it.
Mm-hmm.
Now he is the option. And there were people talking about him winning the MVP, which to me is insane. But
had the shoulder injury not happened and had he not, fizzled with the injury down at the end of the season.
For me, it's Pat Mahomes in the message. Repeat the line.
Yeah.
I don't even want to hear about anybody else.
Yeah.
If I had an MVP vote, it'd be Pat Mahomes, and I don't care. Just put two people on there. Hell, you know what? Put Russell Wilson on there. He's never gotten one of these before, and that'd be funny.
Like I said, to me, it was close. Jalen Hurts was the other one that I was considering for the number one pick, but it was how little I believed in Daniel Jones coming into the season that tipped me there. Because I always have kind of believed that there's something about Jalen Hurts that could work. Daniel Jones I had no faith in at all.
Oh, and I get it. And maybe I'm three-dimensional chess
you went
looking
more
at
literal.
the market.
Yeah, you went more literal with this. Who made themselves the most money?
And I don't think there's anything wrong with how you did it. It was the first. Daniel Jones was the first name in Bill Barnwell's article.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the one that's up for a deal this year. There's a lot of things that could happen between then and now with Jalen Hurts. If they don't decide to do that contract this year, they will. But if we're going completely literally, it's Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
The other reason I couldn't take Daniel Jones one is because he has a doppelganger on the opposite coast. Because there's another quarterback in the NFL, and it's the only two quarterbacks I have on my list, just to be clear. There's another quarterback on the opposite coast that I felt like was a $8 to $10 million backup quarterback that now is going to get a deal in that 2 to 3 year, $20 to $25 million range, and that's Geno Smith.
Yay.
I didn't say you had to be excited about it.
I know.
I said who made themselves the most money.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Geno Smith had fallen on his face, I could have seen him making $5 million as a backup to, I don't know.
Whoever.
Joe Burrow. Or somebody where the starter is entrenched. I just need a safety valve like Case Keenum. He could have been in that same vein. Instead, he comes out, he's going to easily win Comeback Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And now if you're Seattle, I don't know what you're supposed to do. I don't think it's as clear-cut as Daniel Jones because you saw it in the playoff game. Same thing could happen to Daniel Jones this week against the Eagles. But I think you've seen this is limited. The path here is that we have to build the roster around him.
Well, and age matters. Age matters a lot. Like Geno's on the back end last legs of his career. Daniel Jones is a completely different story. I mean, whatever money, whatever raise Geno Smith's going to get, he's going to get it for 2 years, and that's it. Don't you think?
I mean, there's only 7 years difference between them. Geno's only 32 years old.
That's old enough. That's old enough not to go, here's a 5-year deal.
No. I totally get what you're saying in terms of length.
Okay.
I think their deals could look exactly the same. I'm not giving Daniel Jones 5 years either. Because I can't sit here and tell you that I'm not going to have a better alternative.
Mm-hmm.
He fit nicely into that Brian Daboll system. He was 7th in the NFL in QBR. Do you know how many yards he threw for? Just take a stab at this. He missed the last game. So he only played 16 games.
34.
You're too high.
Really?
It's 3,200.
Okay.
3,205. 3,205. 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. It's nothing really to write home about. You weren't asked to do a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So, I get it. I think him and Geno Smith are going to be – it's going to look very similar.
Mm-hmm. And if Daniel Jones can continue the growth, then he'll make more money long-term, Geno Smith again.
Oh, he puts them in the NFC Championship game, and you're probably right.
Yeah.
As they wind up in the NFC title game, all right, now we have to commit to you.
Yes.
That's how much this one game matters for this one player.
Mm-hmm. All right, so he's going Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith with the first 2 picks of the daily draft today, who made themselves the most money by overperforming the projection from this past season. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. We'll take a quick break. I'll have my next 2 picks coming next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and US 1923 exit 3. Future 26 eastbound slow between Riverside Drive and 240. In Swannanoa, an accident US 70 eastbound at Franklin Road. Motorists are advised to follow instructions of on-scene personnel. US 70 on the westbound side, this accident has 1 travel lane blocked at Franklin Road. Merriman Avenue, northbound, approaching Edgewood Road, light delays. I'm Lee Minfield with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. This winter, there are new COVID-19 booster shots designed to help protect against recent Omicron variants. If it's been at least 2 months since your primary series or original booster, schedule your updated COVID-19 booster dose at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
I never write reviews, but Navage is so amazing, I had to leave one. Nothing's ever cleared out my sinuses as well. I'm blown away by how Navage works. That's a review from Carrie, and it's one of over 100,000 online testimonials praising Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I've talked about flushing out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs. How Navage's powered suction can help you breathe better, and how your nose is the body's air filter, and Navage will clean it out. But don't take my word for it. What do people like Chad say, who wrote, Navage has helped clear out my nasal passages every single night. My wife says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. It's ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400 in the midst of the daily draft. Who made themselves the most money by breaking out this season in the NFL? I had the number 1 pick. I went with Daniel Jones. And then Jeremy goes back-to-back quarterbacks with his next 2 picks, doing the whole snake draft thing. Jalen Hurts and Geno Smith. By the way, yeah, I did drop off my car today at 629 Brevard Road at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. Love the service that they give me with my certified pre-owned vehicle. But you talked earlier in the program about some free love for fast food places. I got to shout out Mike's Philly Steak Plus. It's right down the street from Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. It's in the BP. It used to be a Subway, I think.
It did.
And now it might be the best Philly cheesesteak in town.
Since high praise.
Right. I mean, since there is no more
Ziggy's.
Our friend, thank you, Ziggy's. I wanted to say Robin, but that was what we kind of did. Yeah. Anyway, now that Ziggy's is no longer a thing, Mike's Philly Steak Plus might be the best thing in town.
I'll have to check into that the next time.
It's very, very good. Anywho, just wanted to give them a free shout out. Anyway, let's get back into the daily draft here, and I'm going to go with, a guy that I sing his praises over and over and over again, and I feel like he made himself a lot of money this year. The problem is that he's on a team where he's not exactly as highly valued as he should be. With that set up, Jeremy, can you guess who I'm talking about?
If I had been listening to you, I probably could have.
Oh, come on. Guy who's not greatly valued by his team, but proved this year that he is a star and somebody needs to pay him.
Mike White.
Not Mike White.
Then you're wrong.
Missed it by that much. It's Tony Pollard.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Pollard needs to get a bag.
Yes, because he is currently making Ezekiel Elliott look like he runs about a 5.9 40.
And I think he does. I really
very
think he
well
does.
might.
But I mean, him playing that bruiser role, they're using the tandem running backs, and Tony Pollard is the he would be the lightning to the thunder of Ezekiel Elliott. But I feel like he made himself a lot of money this year. I'll be shocked if he doesn't sign somewhere for more than $10 million.
For Dallas's sake, I hope it's with you.
It better be.
Because if you let him get to free agency, don't be shocked if somebody gives him just a mountain of money.
Mm-hmm. I mean, know how we all feel about paying running backs these days, but Tony Pollard, I believe, has proved he has earned a pretty sizable contract. Because he's no doubt the best running back on that team.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
And again, I think that's saying a lot. M. Bradley says next time I'm over on that side of town, stop by the Moose Cafe and tell them that Mark sent you. I will absolutely do that.
100%.
I will do that because actually the last time I took my car over there to get service, I took my kids with me, and we just walked down the road to the Moose Cafe and had breakfast.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, the biscuits and gravy.
Oh,
yes. So good. So yes, we will be definitely mention Mark sent us next time we go over to the Moose Cafe. Always a staple of that side of town. But I thought today I've never been to Mike's Steak Philly Steak Plus, and I was so glad that I did. All right, next player that made themselves a lot of money with a breakout season this year. There are some that I want to put in here, like Lamar Jackson was a guy that was mentioned in Bill Barnwell's article. And I don't think he really did anything to make himself a whole lot.
No,
more
I would
money.
say he cost himself a lot of money.
That's what I'm thinking. So he's kind of off the board for me.
There are two names that if you don't say them right here, my two picks will be very quick.
Very quick? Huh. Okay, well, I'm going to go with a defensive lineman.
My two picks will be very quick.
Your two picks will be very quick. Okay. I'm going Christian Wilkins. He had a hell of a year in the middle of that Miami Dolphins defense.
He did.
And he's one that has earned it. 9th most tackles for a loss in this season. It's just something that you didn't really see out of him on a consistent basis in his first few years in the league.
He was phenomenal.
And he was amazing this year. So you bring in a new defensive coordinator that might have some ways to get him freer coming up next year. Yeah, he definitely earned a huge contract with a massive, massive season.
So I feel like I am about to – you know how you just buried me in yesterday's
Yeah, you're going to do that to me now?
I'm about to do the same thing to you.
Okay.
Because you took a running back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the running back that finished 4th in the NFL in rushing yards, and then I'm going to follow that up with the one that led the league. Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs. Those two made themselves a lot of money.
Did they, though?
A lot of money. Saquon Barkley's going to get $15 million a year. You mark my words, I said it.
But wasn't he going to get that anyway?
Not necessarily. Injury issues, hadn't been productive. No. Saquon will be the highest paid running back in the NFL, and he should be. And he should be. Because if there's one running back I look at and go, you could hold up through 4 to 5 years of a longer-term deal, it's him. Saquon Barkley's built like a Terminator. And he was virtually the only consistent weapon on that offense outside of Daniel Jones.
But prior to this year, he had all the injury issues. So
1-year deal. He was headed down a path of a franchise tag with the New York Giants.
No longer.
Now, no shot.
Yeah. They will sew him up long term.
Because they have to. You cannot run this offense without the bell cow running back.
I just don't know how much more money he made himself.
Guaranteed?
Yeah.
$50 million.
Really? Okay.
I won't be shocked if that deal for Saquon is somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 for $75 with 50 of it guaranteed.
Austin Eckler, great choice. Love Austin Eckler. You know I'm a fan.
I don't know that he did anything to prop himself up.
But I think he was getting that money anyway.
Well, I mean, and everybody thinks that I'm like anti-Austin Eckler for some – I don't know why that is, but all I'm saying is he's not a between-the-tackles running back. If you watch him, you see that is not a spicy take. It's kind of like saying water's wet and grass is green. He's a weapon. And it's fine. Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing by a lot. In an offense that has really never had a running back like that. And whether it's from the Raiders, which I can't tell you that it will be, I don't really care who it's from. Somebody is going to give him a bag. And it won't be 5 for 75 like Saquon because he's had injury issues too, and he doesn't have the body type of Josh Jacobs is one of those running backs that will be insanely productive until he's not. And then when he's not, it will deteriorate quickly.
Well,
and teams will be scared of that to a point. But I could still see it being 4 for 52 with 35 of it guaranteed. He was never sniffing that before this year.
Well, I would say thank you for the analysis of my next pick then. Because of Josh Jacobs.
I just took Josh Jacobs.
How? You took Austin Eckler and Saquon Barkley?
I didn't take Austin Eckler. I took Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley. I wondered why you mentioned Austin Eckler.
Because you did.
I didn't, though. I said Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley.
See, this is that time where I would like to go, hey, Mr. Producer in the other room,
if you would like
dial
to,
that back.
I have a lovely list right here in front of me. You said Austin Eckler. I said nothing about him.
Yeah, no.
I said I'm taking the guy that led the league in rushing and the guy that finished 4th. That's Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley.
And then you said Austin Eckler, and I went, okay, I'm just going to roll with this because I know he didn't lead the league, but okay. Anyway, all right, maybe I misheard. I thought you said Austin Eckler, and I was happy about that.
I said Jacobs and Barkley. Stephen Towle just
all
said
right,
it.
Stephen Towle says he did.
You did that same thing I do where you stopped paying attention and you heard what you wanted to.
You clearly said Austin Eckler.
Now, here's the thing. I have a tape in front of me that's going to tell you you're wrong.
All right, well, let's go.
He's about to take Brett Maher.
Oh, 100%. That guy is just hammer. I'm going to go with James Bradbury.
That's one that
you
I
got
liked.
him off the scrap heap, basically, from the New York Giants. He made, what, $7 million this past year? And after being one, if not the number one, he was in the top 4 in pretty much every metric of a cornerback in this league this year. I feel like James Bradberry, he had a lot to prove. I mean, he's already had pretty sizable contracts. Well, I think he's going to get another one.
For the nature of what this discussion is, I agree with you wholeheartedly. My fear is that somebody's going to bring him in as a 1, and he's best suited as a 2. Bill Barnwell said that in the article, and I could not agree more. Philadelphia needs whatever it takes. You just come back. You fit here really nicely.
Okay, and then my final pick, who made themselves the most money? It's another running back, and it's Jerick McKinnon.
He was on my list, too.
Dude had, 14 touchdowns this year? Something insane.
He was one of 7 players that had double-digit touchdowns receiving.
Yeah. I mean, this was a bargain basement like, hey, we need a 4th running back. Who can we go? Oh, we can go get that Jerick McKinnon guy.
Hey, and you know what he was? He was exactly what you actually thought Clyde Edwards-Helaire would be.
Right.
And weird, there was a fat guy with a mullet that laughed at you out loud when you took him.
Right. I don't see a way he's not going to get a pretty sizable contract for somebody after being.
Does he not strike you as the
afterthought.
guy that? Does he not strike you as the guy that winds up getting 4 years at 40 with the Houston Texans or somebody awful like that, and he's never seen or heard from again?
I was thinking Arizona Cardinals.
That also good answer. If we're playing a few, that's a good answer.
It's on the board somewhere.
Miami Dolphins. We'll keep doing
this. I don't know if I see that happening. But
Mike McDaniel loves former broken down San Francisco 49er running backs.
That is true.
I will give you Arizona was the one. Miami would be a very close 2.
Although Kansas City may look at, or Patrick Mahomes may look at it and go, you're going to re-sign him, right? Because he was my second favorite target behind Travis Kelce all season long.
Oh, no doubt. And Kansas City should. Mm-hmm. They no doubt should.
But he probably made himself a good $6 million. Just for the year contract.
Easily. There's one name that and I'll be honest with you, I consider taking this guy with the middle 2 picks. I am dumbfounded you let him get to me.
Mm-hmm.
He finished second in the league in sacks. Hassan Reddick. You, my friend, have done yourself quite a many favors with the Philadelphia Eagles this year. He was a borderline afterthought when Philadelphia brought him in.
Mm-hmm.
And now, when the contract comes up, and if I'm not mistaken, he signed a 1-year deal with Philadelphia. I could be wrong. It might have had an option.
I'm checking that right now.
It might have had an option. And frankly,
it was 3 years.
3, okay.
He
that's
signed
fine.
3 years, $45 million.
Yeah, he's 28 years old. He will be a free agent at 30 years old. And let me go ahead and tell you what 2 years from now is going to look like. Somebody is going to trip over their own shoelaces to give him $80 million. I do not care how old you are. He has been incredibly important to this team. And I never hear anybody talk about him.
Mm-mm.
I think it's the quietest 16-sack season I've ever seen. I watch Philadelphia, and to me, it looks like he's not even wearing the same jersey because he jumps off the screen enough to me. And then I hear about Bradberry and Slay and Jordan Davis and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I never hear that name. And it just absolutely dumbfounds me.
Mm-hmm. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We'll have more up next. Don't be worried. Don't worry. The most important message of the day is on the way.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Wind advisories up until noon on Friday. Cold front blasting into the mountains of western North Carolina, and a lot of jet stream level winds also kicking up some 50-mile-per-hour wind gust for tonight and first half of Friday, especially in some of the mountaintops. 35 degrees our low for tonight with most of the rains out of here. Sunny and breezy on Friday, cooler, high 46, low 25. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and US 1923 exit 3. Future 26 eastbound stop and go between Riverside Drive and 240. In Swannanoa, an accident US 70 eastbound at Franklin Road. Motorists are advised to follow instructions of on-scene personnel. US 70 on the westbound side, also at Franklin Road. One travel lane blocked due to this accident. On the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge, no incidents reported. Smoky Park Highway, north and southbound, approaching Sand Hill Road, light delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. Jackson Hewitt gets you your biggest tax refund guaranteed, plus a chance to double your refund or win weekly prizes with their Double Your Refund sweepstakes. File your taxes on the double. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Ends 4/2/23.
Of course, your favorite station is on the free iHeartRadio app. Take us with you anywhere and listen anytime. Plus, get thousands of other stations and playlists all free. Download our free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
iHeartRadio. Did you know Ingles only sells USDA choice and prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM at 1400. Yes, okay, so I went back and I checked the tape. You said Josh Jacobs. I specifically heard Austin Eckler in my head, and then when I came back with after the Saquon Barkley talking, I said, Austin Eckler is a good choice. You didn't even bat an eye. You were like, okay, but you didn't say that's not what I said.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I heard you say it, and I went, I don't have any idea what that has to do with what I just said. But, Austin Eckler's a formidable choice, too.
See, that would have made it much more clear that, hey, you just...
Well, I thought you did that thing that I did, and you just faded off. It's all butterfly.
I kind of did. I mean, as soon as you said the two, you were taking two running backs, I guess I just had Austin Eckler in my head. I wrote it down, too.
Yeah,
I even wrote him down first.
Oh, we're big dumb animals, folks.
We are.
That's what we do. It's what we do.
We are. But I'm a lighter big dumb animal these days. Because of the PhD weight loss program, I finally feel like I have a handle on my weight problem. I've had it ever since I was born. When I first met with Dr. Ashley Lucas, she asked me if I had a picture of myself when I was in some sort of quote-unquote peak physical condition that I could use as motivation to go, this is what I want to get back to. And I didn't. Like, the only time I ever had a picture like that, I was 4 years old. I had a little 4-pack. And then I turned 5, and then it just went straight from 4-pack to keg.
And you found the 4-pack at Dunkaroos.
Oh, 100%. And I ate 7,000 boxes of them. But then PhD weight loss taught me a better way to live. They taught me how to cut out the unhealthy things and to focus on a healthy lifestyle. And in 1 year, I lost 90 pounds.
When Dr. Lucas asked me for that picture, I had one at the ready. I was 24 years old. And you know what that picture and where I am right now have in common? I weighed the exact same. My arms aren't quite as big, but that's on me, not the program. With this plan, gave me all of the healthy choices to get back to the weight I wanted to be, which is where I am, and it's all thanks to the plan and program of PhD.
You can go to myphdweightloss.com today and find out how many people have had great success. Go to the tutorial page or the testimonial page. Go to the testimonial page, and you will see story after story after story of people who are winning the battle with their weight problem because of PhD Weight Loss. PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition is the official partner of the Clemson Tigers. Now it's time for the most important message of the day, which, as always,
don't do crimes.
Yeah, crime never pays, and there is a flood coming across the Mexico-U.S. border. This is not, and it's not it may not be the kind that you're thinking of when I say that. Most people go to, oh, well, this is an illegal immigration thing. This is a drug trade thing. No. One of the fastest growing seizures by border security these days, eggs. It's eggs. Because apparently in Juarez, Mexico these days, you can go down there and you can get a carton of eggs for $3.40, which if you've been to the store lately, you've noticed that it's not $3.40 for a dozen of eggs anymore. Because of the nationwide avian flu epidemic that forced producers to put down 43 million egg-laying hens this year. That's why we've seen the price of eggs go from $3.50, according to this story, $3.50 to $5.30 across the United States. Now, U.S. Customs and Border Protection says 108% increase in seized egg products and poultry at ports of entry from October the 1st to December 31st of last year. So people are going across the border and going, what can we get cheap down here? Oh, eggs! Well, here's the thing. That's on the no-no list of things you cannot bring back across the border. It's an agricultural thing. It's just they may not have the same kind of checks and balances in their system that we have here that keeps you safe, keeps you from getting sick. 108% increase. Although you got to think also, I mean, was there really much of an egg smuggling trade before the price went north? I'm going to say no.
Weird.
What?
Price of eggs skyrocketed, much like everything else. In Brooklyn, there was a call on Tuesday night of a woman screaming, and with crime rates surging, of course, police responded to find out what the kerfuffle was. Well, there's been a lot of stories in the media the last week about police officers and maybe their relationships. You don't know what I'm talking about? Google it. Or go to Facebook and go, hey, who is that person? And when you figure that out, you'll know where I'm headed with this. So police respond. Well, they were shocked to find out that the screams were coming from inside the precinct parking lot because two of the officers were in their car because they were partners. They were partners, and they
not on the case.
No. They're actually like
partners.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they're also cop partners.
Yeah.
Well, so they
never
found
partner with your partner.
Correct. So come to find out that not only did this happen, but apparently one of these cops was married to someone else, and this relationship became very public knowledge around the precinct because the male officer's wife showed up at the station in the summer of last year and created, quote, quite a scene, which led to the two cops getting into an altercation. They had to be separated, and then they partnered them back up. How many mistakes do you have to make in one story? Because I got to 6 before I stopped. I just went, okay, I see where this is headed. Don't do crimes. It's okay to just maybe not in your work vehicle.
But is that a crime?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't do that
in a car?
Public. No, you can't do it in public. You have a house for a reason, okay?
I don't know. I don't do things like that, so I just had to ask the question. It's not like they were in the middle of the public square.
No, they were in the parking lot of a police precinct. That seems a little brazen to me.
Sure.
I can't believe I told that whole story and you never at any point used the phrase, "What are you, a cop?"
Yeah. What are you, a cop?
There it is.
All right.
See, was that so difficult?
No, it wasn't. Stop, Stephen Tao. We're not going. I love the chat so much.
Oh,
and if you want to get in on the bluer side of the show, that's not a cop reference. That's a vulgar content reference.
Yeah,
you want to
go
get
back.
into the bluer side of the sportsocracy. You definitely need to get in with the chat.
And
on
if
the
you
YouTube.
can't watch it live, you can go back and rewatch it and see the chat, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Indeed. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, and subscribe to the channel. So we've got the playoffs continuing this week. The divisional round. We'll have all of the picks for you coming up tomorrow on a Football Friday here in the Sportsocracy. It is going to be deep dive on all of the games coming up. And just a quick temperature gauge here. What's the one that you're definitely not missing a second of? I know you won't miss a second of any of them, but
Bengals, Bills.
Absolutely.
I won't miss a second of either of any of them. You're absolutely right. I think the underrated matchup of the weekend is Giants-Eagles. Might be the least palatable to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Might also be the closest.
I don't know.
You think Philadelphia's just going to dog walk the Giants,
No,
don't you?
I do not.
I'm shocked.
I do not. In fact, there's only one game this weekend that I look at and go, that is a no-doubter to me.
Oh, that tells me we're probably going to be on the opposite side because I have a funny feeling I know which game you're talking about.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and US 1923 exit 3. Future 26 eastbound stop and go between Riverside Drive and 240. In Swannanoa, an accident US 70 eastbound at Franklin Road. Motorists are advised to follow instructions of on-scene personnel. US 70 on the westbound side, also at Franklin Road. One travel lane blocked due to this accident. On the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge, no incidents reported. Smoky Park Highway, north and southbound, approaching Sandhill Road, light delays.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business needs, from quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options. Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Rachel Bonetta here, host of the Benched with Bonetta podcast, and now the NFL Game Day View podcast. Join me, Cynthia Freeland, Greg Rosenthal, and Patrick Claybon as we break down the week of games. We're going to give you our predictions on things such as how many points will be scored in each game, who is going to win, and how they will do it. Listen to new episodes of the NFL Game Day View podcast every Friday on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Sports leagues are chock full of winners and losers.
Correct.
And I'm happy to call myself a loser because in a year, I've lost more than 90 pounds with the PhD weight loss program. It was last Thanksgiving week that met with Dr. Ashley Lucas. She told us this is the program to see great results. And she was not lying. More than 90 pounds down, I feel like a brand new Tank Spencer.
I did not have 90 pounds to lose, but I had gotten a little chunky. My food decisions had become very lazy, and I was causing some problems. I wasn't sleeping well. My knees hurt. Just over a year on this program, I'm back to my high school weight, sleeping like a baby, and everything's back to hunky-dunky, and it's all thanks to the plan and program of PhD Weight Loss.
It's the easiest program I've ever been on. They give you 80% of the food you need to have success, and you will just be amazed. I am proof positive that it can change your life and help you win that battle with your weight once and for all. Go to myphdweightloss.com. It's myphdweightloss.com.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
The Sportsocracy.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. It's ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and all of the discussions in the head coaching carousel around the NFL continue to mainly center around one name, and it's Sean Payton. Obviously, we know his track record as a Super Bowl head coach. He is a guru of all gurus in the NFL. And somebody wants to land him, and somebody will give him $25 million a year to be their head coach. And it appears over the last 24 hours, there's a lot of people in the national media, especially those boys up in Bristol, who are kind of convinced that it's going to be the Carolina Panthers. And I can't get there. I mean, I understand David Tepper has all the money that he could want to spend on a head coach. I'm just trying to figure out why Sean Payton would choose this destination over any other.
Well, I mean, that's pretty simple. It's a division he's familiar in. Look at how many times we've had coaches that had 3 coaching jobs and 2 of them are in the same division. There's a reason for that. That's A. B, this is a really weak group of coaching jobs. I mean, just be honest with yourself. He's not going to the Houston Texans.
No.
I struggle to believe he'd go to the Arizona Cardinals, no matter how much people want to talk about it. It doesn't make any sense. It's a notoriously cheap franchise. One of the cash poorest owners in the NFL. I mean, there was talk at one time that they weren't going to let Cliff Kingsbury go because they didn't want to pay him $5 million. That doesn't strike me as, hey, I'm going to go pay $25 for a coach. Denver, you're tying yourself to Russell Wilson, and then Indianapolis, where you have to deal with interesting individual Jim Irsay.
Okay.
Trust me, there were a lot of adjectives that I wanted to use right there.
To me, out of all of those options, Denver makes the most sense.
And that's the one with the worst quarterback situation, unequivocally.
Yeah. I just feel like if there's anybody that can fix Russell Wilson and get the most out of him, it's Sean Payton.
And if you look at how Sean Payton has operated offense, Russell Wilson, you think he fit poorly with Nathaniel Hackett? It put him in that Drew Brees system with Sean Payton. It's exponentially worse. It's all of the things that Russell can't do and takes away all of the things he does well, which is exactly where Nathaniel Hackett got into problems. I've never bought Denver. I bought Jim Harbaugh in Denver. But I don't see Sean Payton, and I've never believed it. So if he's dead set on taking a job this year, I understand the Carolina thing. The only thing I will preface that with is Carolina, if that's the way you want to go, just understand it's going to cost you the 9th pick in this draft, which would be one of the highest prices any team has ever paid for a head coach. I mean, would you do it?
No. I don't think I would.
I might, solely because I know after 5 in this draft class, it gets really beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And that 9th pick, now you're going to pay them like a 9th pick for 5 years, and there's a chance that the talent level is going to be equitable to 22 in a normal draft. So that's how I would look at it if I'm Carolina. My biggest question is, okay, then what do we do at quarterback? Or are we bringing back Sam Darnold?
Exactly.
Is that what's alluring to Sean Payton? Because I'll tell you, everybody's always said I'm a Sam Darnold apologist. It's not that. It's virtually every scout that you possibly could hear feels the exact same way I do. They just don't have a radio show where they can scream it from the mountaintops every 3 weeks.
Well, it's funny you bring up quarterback because this morning they were talking Tom Brady on one of the shows. I guess it was Get Up or something. And
I see where this is headed.
Dan Orlovsky said the best place that Tom Brady could go to win a Super Bowl
is Madden.
Is the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, good gracious.
He was on the set with Mad Dog and Damian Woody. Both of those guys went with the Raiders, which I don't understand either.
Nope.
And Dan Orlovsky went with the Carolina Panthers. And I thought, it's better than the Raiders, but not by much.
I at least understand your path to the playoffs because this division's very bad. And it may be worse next year than it was this year. So I understand why Sean Payton would want to do it. I don't understand why Tom Brady would want to do it. I also don't understand why Carolina would want Tom Brady. Again, I feel like I will probably say this way a few times over the next 6 weeks. Sam Darnold is currently a better quarterback than Tom Brady.
He's definitely more mobile.
My coffee cup's more mobile because it might fall off that desk at a rate of speed that's past the speed of smell.
Right. But even, I don't know. I'm not sure I fully agree with the Sam Darnold's better than Tom Brady right now, but you put Tom Brady on the Carolina Panthers. It's
with
the same
DJ
thing.
Moore, end of message, repeat the line.
It's the same thing as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though. It's the best quarterback you've ever had, and it's not close.
I don't know that I agree with that. I don't know that the version you're getting here, plus it puts the franchise back. The only rational thought there is, and I hope this is not true, is that you would be doing the carnival barker thing where, look, we have Tom Brady. This gives you a reason to come to the stadium. And, what does that actually do for you? Are you 9-8 now? Maybe. Solely because there was so much Baker Mayfield and P.J. Walker last year? I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Please don't do that.
It's a fun little pipe dream that fans like to play. Sean Payton, Tom Brady come to Carolina and make us relevant.
Sean Payton could do it. Tom Brady makes no sense.
See, here's the thing. I don't think either of them are coming to Carolina to do it because that's a place that, as Colin Cowherd said today, it's a place you can go and get forgotten.
I don't know that I agree with that at this point.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Tomorrow is a Football Friday. Go ahead.
Football Friday!
We'll be back right here on ESPN Asheville and on YouTube at 3 o'clock.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Wind advisories up until noon on Friday. Cold front blasting into the mountains of western North Carolina, and a lot of jet stream level winds also kicking up some 50-mile-per-hour wind gust for tonight and first half of Friday, especially in some of the mountaintops. 35 degrees our low for tonight with most of the rains out of here. Sunny and breezy on Friday, cooler, high 46, low 25. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow, 240 westbound between Chuns Cove Road and US 1923 exit 3. Future 26 eastbound very busy between Riverside Drive and 240. Merriman Avenue north and southbound approaching Edgewood Road. Expect delays. Sweeten Creek Road southbound after the Blue Ridge Parkway and approaching Mills Gap Road. Expect delays. Hendersonville Road moving problem-free. On the Charlotte Highway, no backups. Tunnel Road moving well. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business needs, from quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options. Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Hi, I'm Chad Greenway. After retiring from the NFL, I've embraced my new role coaching my kids in their youth sports. Our Youth Basketball Association made the decision to use trusted coaches to train, screen, and educate all of our basketball coaches. Visit trustedcoaches.org to learn more. I'm a trusted coach. Are you?
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.